distinguished guests, esteemed speakers, respected regulators, investors, and valued participants, a very good morning to all. And it's my great pleasure to welcome you all to the Bangladesh Investment Summit 2025. I'm Subafrin, working as the head of trade products for Citi Bangladesh, and we're very delighted to have all of you together for this wonderful engagement, bringing together diverse stakeholders from both public and private sectors. And at this point, I would like to refer to the wonderful inauguration ceremony that took place yesterday in presence of our chief advisor, and I think the tone is already being set. I would like to quote one of the points mentioned by our chief advisor, Yunus sir, that Bangladesh is a country with crazy ideas, and we make things happen. And I think having that in mind, our end goal is definitely to ensure that we explore the future of investments in Bangladesh, discover untapped opportunities, and collaborate and foster an economic growth for us as a nation together. So as we embark into an era where frontier technologies and digital tools like AI, blockchain, big data are basically not only transforming the supply chain and manufacturing systems, but it has become enablers for our daily necessities as well. So I think the key is to leverage these technologies to ensure that we try to improve human ingenuity, and in the process, we also accelerate the progress of the industry, the society, and the country as a whole. So today's session, as you can understand, is on digital economy. I would say, in fact, the rise of digital economy and how we can take it to the next level with investment opportunities in place and explore the vast potential it offers. Citibank NA Bangladesh is a proud organizer of today's session in partnership with Bida and UNDP. And it's a great opportunity for us, as Citi has always been in the forefront in the area of digital transformation, and we're optimistic about the opportunities that the digital economy is likely to bring. Though we acknowledge there are certain barriers that we need to address in terms of having a supportive legal and regulatory environment, but having said that, we have a house full of our supportive regulators, policymakers, and investors, so I'm sure we will make it happen. So now, when we talk about the digital economy, I think the contribution of Citi globally comes up as a success story, where we have seen almost around trillions of dollars are getting flown through Citi within the SWIFT mechanism every day. We cover almost 15% of the SWIFT volumes. Apart from that, I think our digital platforms like Citi Direct have utilized the powerful machine learning, AI, and also APIs to ensure that we provide our customers with a platform where they not only can transact, but they have the powerful data to manage their own liquidity programs, to manage their own risks, and to get certain market intelligence as well. We have also partnered with blockchain-enabled platforms, fintech companies, to ensure that we can help support reduce tenors of letter of credits. We have been using OCRs to ensure that we can review the documents at a very efficient manner. And apart from that, we also have a lot of work going on with digital onboarding, electronic signatures, biometric authentication, and the list goes on. So I won't really take much time on that, but I think with that note, I would now like to invite Mohammad Moinul Haq, Citi Country Officer, to present his opening remarks, highlighting some reforms from Bangladesh perspective and the digital transformation we as a country is likely to go through. Mr. Moinul Haq is a seasoned banker with 27 years of experience in transaction banking and have led many pioneering digital initiatives positioning city as a thought leader and has been a key advocate for national initiatives that are improving the ease of doing business and accelerating the digital evolution of the country's financial ecosystem. Mr. Moinul Haq, I would like to invite you to the stage, please. Please, can we have a big round of applause?
Very good morning and assalamu alaikum. And it's my great pleasure to invite you all to today's session. Let me start with a quick story. Many of you may already know this story. In 2007, two roommates in San Francisco was struggling to pay their room rent. At that time, a conference was about to take place in that town, and all the hotels were booked. So they had an idea, why not rent out their air mattresses and serve breakfast? So eventually, they teamed up with another partner to build a simple website they named Air Bed and Breakfast and launched it. In 2007, this idea didn't make any sense. But as we speak today, this idea is known as Airbnb and is worth billions. It has disrupted the hotel industry without owning a hotel. Similarly, Uber has disrupted the mobility industry without owning vehicle. Facebook has disrupted the media industry without creating any content. Netflix has disrupted TV networks without conventional broadcasting. So the list continues, as is driven by the rise of platform-based business model. So that exemplifies the power of digital economy. And it can create an opportunity from not more than a laptop, an internet connection, and most importantly, an unique or crazy idea, as our Honorable Chief Advisor, sir, was saying yesterday, as one of Bangladesh's competitive advantage. So, if we look at the COVID-19 pandemic situation, at that time, we experienced that digital economy played its critical role. It kept the business running, it enabled the remote work, it powered e-commerce, and more importantly, it connected people when the physical systems broke down. We are now standing on the brink of fourth industrial revolution, an era defined by artificial intelligence, machine learning, augmented reality, virtual reality, big data, blockchain, Internet of Things, 3D printing, cybersecurity, cloud computing. So all these technologies are reshaping the industry. This is redefining the way we work and how we live. And this is also disrupting the traditional business model. So fourth industrial revolution presenting immense opportunity for Bangladesh as well as significant responsibility to build a smart, business, future-ready, and inclusive society. With that spirit, we have seen the latest draft of Bangladesh National Digital Transformation Strategy, now looking at Bangladesh to be one of the significant hub for artificial intelligence and fourth industrial revolution by 2030. And this strategy also sets the target for Bangladesh to rank among the top 15 nations in the index of e-government development index, to nurture and grow 7 to 8 million skilled ICT professionals, to increase funding for the startup by 50%, and to boost our ICT export to 5 billion, all by 2030. Historically, if we look at the composition of the foreign direct investment in Bangladesh, it has been focused on textile, banking, power and energy, manufacturing. But we have seen the interest started coming from the investors in our digital segment, given there is a very good investment prospect in some of the areas, notably IT-enabled services, electronics, semiconductors, then telecoms, and digital platform. And global investors or the global companies are being drawn out by mainly our competitive cost tech talents, and also our rapidly expanding consumer base or consumer market, which is likely to be or expected to be the 9th largest consumer market globally, again by 2030. Today's session is more than a conversation and is a call to action. So we'll explore how Bangladesh is preparing for going through this transformation. We'll hear about some of the success stories. And most importantly, we would like to explore what more we can do in terms of creating bridge between innovators and the investors, policy and progress, ambition and action, and Bangladesh and the rest of the world. Lastly, as we continue to build a digital economy shaped by algorithms and automation, it needs to be remembered that every line of code has impact on a human life. And that's why a powerful quote reminds us, as more and more artificial intelligence entering into this world, more and more emotional intelligence must be entering into the leadership. So thanks for being with us. Looking forward to having a very engaging, forward-looking, action-oriented discussion. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Moinul Bhai. I think as you correctly mentioned, building that bridge between the investors and the innovators, along with the continued focus from the government side or the policy maker side as well, would basically ensure that it's a win-win situation for all stakeholders, and we all can reap the benefit from this sustainable sector, where we have a very low-cost Bangladeshi tech talents and also broad consumer base. So now as an economy where we are at the crossroads of moving from heavily paper-based industry to an industry where digital tools are likely to be more prevalent, we have seen a profound focus from our policymakers as well. And it is imperative that the required frameworks in terms of, say, data protection laws or cloud policies, this kind of regulations are in place to promote the use of digital platforms at a greater scale. So on that note, we would now like to invite Faiz Ahmed Taib, Policy Advisor, ICT Ministry, Government of Bangladesh, to share his insights from the policymakers' lens. So a big round of applause for Mr. Faiz Ahmed Taib. Sir, would like you to invite on the stage, please.
morning, ladies and gentlemen, business leaders, distinguished guests, and the host sponsors. I would like to welcome you the second day of Bangladesh Investment Summit, and thank you very much for being so generous to many of you to travel from many other countries and many of you to spend time to here. So I'll be talking a little bit about the policy lens of digital economy. Would you please start the presentation? Please screen the presentation. Yeah, thank you. So first of all, welcome everyone. I understand many of the business leaders are present. So yeah, it's my pleasure to share some of my views, some of the government views with you, and hopefully we will have a very engaging sessions and follow-ups and action-oriented follow-ups. So let's start from here. When we talk about digital transformation, we talk about a lot of service-oriented transformations that we would like to show that we need to automate many of the services. But the thing is, to automate services, we need the layers ready and prepared underneath. We do not talk much about it. So today, I would like to share my views and the government views, how we are thinking about those layers underneath the service layer. So imagine a lady at the coastal belt of Bangladesh. She is waiting for her husband when a devastating cyclone is approaching her. Imagine the villagers who are waiting to take shelter at the cyclone centers, or the paddy, or the farmers, potato farms, who don't know the weather forecast and know when to harvest, or the food panda delivery girl, who don't know where there is a nearest toilet or washroom for her to use, or the rickshaw puller, who has a battery and do not know what is the residual amount of charge he has and how long he can pull his rickshaw. Or the remitter who is applying for a visa and his or her documents are instantly getting rejected because those are not digital documents. Those attestations are not digitally certified. So we, in the name of digital transformation, over the last 15 years, we have tried to solve these problems on silo basis. And we didn't talk about interoperability. Companies, governments, startups, and from every angle of the digital economy or economy, legacy economy, we tried to solve these problems on silo basis because we didn't want to share data to others. We didn't try to exchange things, and we thought we will be if I share ideas, then my business case will be lost, and so and so. So in the name of business innovation, we actually created a lot of digital transformation hazards. I'm not blaming anybody, but what I'm saying that we have to solve these hazards together with the government and together with the industry. Together we have to solve these problems. When you talk about economy, political economy, macroeconomy or microeconomy, we always talk this population pyramid of Bangladesh. And it comes with a number of key things, that GDP growth is this, very sustainable, over 6%. The youth population is so large, and the median of the age is only 26. So this country has the immense amount of potentiality to get the benefits of demographic dividend. And at the same time, we have more than 60 millions of workable labor force, and we have more than 2 millions of graduates coming out of the institutions. So these are the key things. At the same time, this indicates when there is a problem in the digital silo, the problem scales up to the millions level. So when there is a problem in the passport system, that affects millions. When there is a problem of data interoperability or data sharing or registration issue, that affects millions. So this is the thing we never talk about. And we try to hide these problems under the carpet. Yes, we talk about political stability. We talk about policy inconsistency, those two major problems we face, like many other developing countries. Hopefully, Bangladesh, after July revolution, will solve these problems in a very sustainable way. So today I came to show you hope, and the hope that people showed after July revolution. After such a revolution, we saw many other countries, their systems, services, institutions get completely scrapped. But in Bangladesh, we have not. We are still standing firm and able to form such an engaging and vibrant international investment summit here in Dhaka after just 6 months of the regime change. And I think together with the people's resilience against climate vulnerability, against political turmoil, this population shows immense amount of opportunity. And this opportunities has to be taken by the innovators. And here we, as policymakers, we have to lay the foundation as much as possible. When it comes to digital transformation, as Mr. Moinul has shared, in the digital transformation master plan, we have given enough massive focus in upscaling. So this is one thing. If we can challenge our workforce for skilled, then we will be able to solve the problems and challenges of fourth industrial revolution. And here, data governance has a big role to play when it comes to digital economy. As I said, interoperability is important. Scalability of this is a big problem here. So, because we are silo, we are not that much interoperable or limited interoperable. Our scalability is at risk or at challenge. And the last thing is ethical use of internet and data, both from the society and also for the organizations. So I will not spend much about the problem statements. We know each other that our digital systems are silos, and at the same time, the citizen storage, data institute storage are also created in a way, those are also created silos. So like our NID system is not fully integrated. BDRS, birth and death registration, is not fully integrated. CRVS is not fully integrated. Not only that, the financial transaction data we get from the market, the CDRs we get from the mobile industry, the transactions we get from the payment gateways, these are not interoperable. So our task is to make this interoperable and lay the foundation so the service gets most benefit out of it. When it comes to payment system, we also have a number of silos. Our credit card companies has one silo, NPSB has a silo, MFS is getting a silo, and also the payment system gateways, the PSO groups are also silo. So these are also silos that are blocking the immense amount of opportunities. So we have to unblock these opportunities. I will spend a little bit on this. So when you talk about a lot of silos, silos do not help us to elevate elevate the difficulties and also scale up the service levels. So here, our government focus is to pay enough attention on digital public infrastructure. And we are saying that in the digital public infrastructure, the very first thing, we will lay the regulatory legal foundation. That is the most bottom one in this graph. So that is, we are working seriously with cyber safety ordinance. And in the cyber safety ordinance, we have consulted with the different wings of the society and try to address all the concern. So by the end of this month, we'll be offering a fresh cyber safety act that is not repressing, that will not allow the government to oppress the citizen, to undermine democratic values, and also it will be respecting human rights and freedom of expression. So we have consulted a lot of civil society activists and also human rights organizations before we finally produce it. So I hope by the end of this month, cyber safety ordinance will be gazetted. The next one is, at this moment, we are working in Digital Personal Data Protection Act. I have a lot of concerns over the last few years about it, about data localization and platform liability, this type of things. So in cyber safety ordinance, we said that if platforms are ordered to block contents, government has to publish it. And anybody can sue the government based on their data. So this type of provision has been given. And in Public Personal Data Protection Act, we are saying that the previous structure has been completely scrapped. So we are talking about completely new organogram, that there will be a data governance and interoperability authority under Prime Minister Office and under the supervision of the Supreme Court. And it will regulate the interoperability standards, who will be sharing what, and who will be asking for API. If someone is asking for API, that authority will net scout, will be scouting against which of the services someone or some company will be asking which of the data. So it will be governed in a way that services will get data based on the relevance. Not everyone can take all the data for all the purposes. And then we are saying that the two parties, source and destination of the data, what is their cyber safety enforcement capability, what is their technical capability, what is their international certification in standards based on different domains like banking and finance, mobile communication, ICT, ITES, all those data centers, hyperscalers. So based on industry standards and international practices, these parties who is sharing data and who is receiving data, they have to maintain some sort of regulatory obligations in terms of international standards and protocols. So at this moment, you know, millions of citizens finds their data in the dark web. So we want a kind of structure, organization here so that it can govern. So it doesn't mean that we will take all the systems into one. No, we will not discover any new wheel. Rather, the existing wheels will be interconnected. Then we are talking about, we will be focusing highly on AI and cloud policy. At this moment, we are working with UNESCO. When the UNESCO AI readiness methodology report is out sometime in May, we will revisit our AI policy and we will announce immense amount of focus into cloud first, because we have problems in electricity. And for digital economy to fly, we understand that we have to offer quality electricity also and high-speed internet. So from internet perspective, I'll talk about in the infra layer. So these are the activities: Cyber Safety Ordinance, Personal Data Protection Act, then National AI Policy, National Cloud Policy, and besides, we are also working with some other policies, like we have renewed the high-tech park policy to elaborate the scope of and the definition so that it can accommodate new businesses. And parallelly, we have made a semiconductor policy. The NRBs who are working mostly in the US market, the teachers, our teachers who are the professors in different Western universities, we formed a body, and they have helped us to form a national AI policy. So these are the regulatory layer of the digital public infrastructure. Then we talk about the connectivity layer. Connectivity layer, we have a lot of conscious and unconscious blocking. The quality of internet is very poor, whether it is mobile internet quality or broadband quality. So I hope for the premium customers, Starlink and other NGSO players will show some hope to the entrepreneurs and the business. At the same time, we are talking about the type of policies we can offer to the mobile operators, to the ISPs and the carriers, so that they can get enough policy help and infra help from our side, so that they can liberalize this infrastructure. So for example, fibers. Our fiber policy was blocking the digital economy. We realize it, and we will take necessary steps to liberalize fiber network and create conscious blockings and unconscious blockings. So because this is one of our high priority. At the same time, in the internet price at the gateway from the government submarine cable side, we have reduced it recently. For hyperscalers, we have offered 20% discount, and at the same time, if the bulk amount of purchase happen beyond a certain range, there is additional 30% discount. So we are saying that we will bring down the internet price to the regional level, so that the cloud, data center, and hyperscalers get this type of policy support from our side. And then the third layer of the digital public infrastructure is authentication. At this moment, we don't have national unique authentication layer. We are working with European Union and World Bank to create electronic ID and service layer authentication platforms, and we will try to break existing silos also in this area. I forgot something from the kind of infra layer. We are working seriously on the license regime. The communication industry has a number of stages in the voice and data call market. So we will offer a very flexible license structure. So we are working on the topology change. So new topology will have only 3 to maximum 4 layers. International layer, infrastructure layer, access layer, something like this. There can be a service layer. So I believe by the mid of the year, sometime in June or July, we will be coming out with all those fresh policies that unblocks the blockings of the economy from the communication side and also from the legal side. And then there will be slowly, we will create an authentication layer, and after that, we will have cyber safety or cyber security ordinance passed, and also when the data governance authority is created, there will be some orders restored in terms of interoperability and data governance. And on top of that, we have this service layer. We talk a lot about fintech, edtech, agrotech, healthcare tech, and govtech. So, but we could not help ourselves enough. We could not drive this market enough. The reason the layers beneath was not ready. Our government focus is to make those layers ready. Anyway, so I can assure you from the government side that we will be offering all the policy support to business. And then together with government, the business has to solve the problems of the society. And from our side, from Professor Yunus' spirit, there should not be any conscious blocking in the policy anymore. If there is any unconscious block, we are ready to discuss and ready to negotiate. The only one thing we demand from the business is the employment. The July revolution will be successful when we will be able to create an environment for innovation and employment. The companies who are operating here in Bangladesh, I would like to offer them, we would like to offer all the policy supports, and in return, we would like them to create enough employment, quality employment. And to facilitate them, we will try to offer you quality electricity, stable internet, land pieces in the high-tech park, and duty restructuring. So every type of support you need, we are ready to discuss, we are open to negotiate. And please feel free to reach out to us. We are accessible by anyone, any business. This is your task to solve the problem, and this is our task to solve your problem. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir. And I think as you correctly mentioned, interoperability is definitely the key, where integration of different systems is likely to bring not only efficiency, but synergy to the whole system. At this point, I would like to just make an apology note. Faiz Ahmad Taib, sir, is a special assistant to Chief Advisor, so just wanted to rectify that. And thank you once again. So at this point in time, I just felt that we would like to make the event a bit, I won't say interactive, but a bit different, right? Let's watch a video for that. And the video would be showcasing how AI has been changing our lives and how it has been evolving over the years. So can we have the video, please?
The conversation began a year and a half ago or 2 years ago with like, oh, how can we plug AI into this existing process? Then it was, oh, how do we use AI to automate this existing process? Now it is, oh, actually, we need to rethink the entire way we do business.
AI is helping us a lot in improving and transforming our business. Firstly, by decreasing the cost to serve, but also making us greener, much quicker. The coworkers today in our stores, they get AI support to improve the filling rate of our trucks or optimize the delivery network. It really allows us to provide a different customer experience.
For the employees working in the company, they have a very efficient way to do their job, not wasting their life on the things that could be automated. Actually, I see AI will provide a lot more career opportunities that for the people, they cannot do that kind of thing yesterday, but today with AI empowered, they can do a lot more.
My personal passion is all about embodied AI. So AI as an agent, say in a physical body, walking around doing things, being an assistant in the physical space. I think that's kind of where the big bang is going to come from in the next part of this conversation.
The break point is about to happen. that if we change our perspective of AI, if we don't look at AI or any kind of cutting-edge technology as an assistant, as a tool, or even as a weapon, instead if we look at it as a teacher, as my personal therapist, and we really ask it to help us, I think the more content we feed to it and the more business process that we ask AI to design for us, I think that will make a fundamental change for next 10 years.
We're seeing a lot of organizations pop up which are much more agile and are more willing to kind of embrace this and run with it and able to harness this technology to kind of provide that value to their customers as quickly as possible.
Typically today, you could say that an online journey starts with someone coming to your website, gets on the landing page, goes to the product page, to the cart, and goes to the checkout. Generative AI will completely transform that. It will project a dream. So my recommendation, start today thinking about the customer journeys of tomorrow.
The conversation.
Thank you everyone. We'll just take a 2 minutes break because we'll have a panel discussion in a bit. So I'll just request everyone to remain seated. We will just start in a minute. I will request everyone to remain seated, please. So this session would be a panel discussion, which would focus on inclusive digital growth, breaking barriers through policy and technology, where I think we've been very fortunate that we could bring some key industry experts and also individuals who are making a difference to the digital workspace as well. So So at this point, I would like to invite Ms. Ruzan Sarwar, Head Public Policy, Meta, Bangladesh and Nepal. A big round of applause for Ruzan, please. Thank you. Then we have Otto Magne Rusbach, CFO, Grameenphone. A big round of applause for Otto. Thank you, Otto. We have Infan Zhang, Director, International Public Policy and Government Affairs and International. Thank you, Infan. Then we have Rohit Jamwal, Citi Asia Public Sector Sales Head, Citi. Thank you, Rohit. We have Deb Tulal Roy, sir, Executive Director, Bangladesh Bank. Sir, thank you. And finally, we have Mohammad A. Akhir, Director, Head of Treasury and Trade Solutions, Citibank in Bangladesh, who would be moderating today's session.
All right. So thank you so much for being here, and good morning to everyone. And I think I'm really excited to be moderating this session for next 40 to 45 minutes and discuss some of the exciting things. And I think why I'm telling that this digital economy, I don't think this is a buzzword anymore. I think this is how the world works now. So from everything that how we live our life, we shop, we pay, how do we get paid? I think everything is getting changed through AI tools and digital platforms. Now, with all these changes, it also comes the question of access, data, innovation, use of data responsibly, and with all these things. And I think it's a very complex phenomenon, and the balance between innovation and responsibility, AI versus human intelligence. With all these things, I think we have this very awesome group of panelists with us today, people who are right in the heart of this transformation, leading this transformation, and guide us what should be the exact pathway that we should adopt in our course of going into the future. So with that introduction, I will start with Mr. Rohit Jamwal. Rohit, how many times you are the Asia Pacific head for City Bangladesh, for City Asia, and have been covering Bangladesh as part of that? So how many times have you visited Bangladesh till date?
Must be more than 20 times.
Yep. So I think you know a lot about Bangladesh public sector ecosystem and also the digital adoption of Bangladesh. And what do you think about the digital promise of this country? And how do you see where Bangladesh stands versus the best practices in the digital space in the markets in Asia?
So I will take this question two ways. Firstly, I fully agree with what Mr. Faiz said. Because I cover all the governments in the Asia Pacific, and I spend most of my time in North Asia, then South Asia. I think the challenge which Mr. Faiz has identified, which is interoperability, I think is the biggest challenge here. It's not about digitization, because digitization is not the end game. It's a process. So from that perspective, I think countries like Singapore has done extremely well. The way they implemented the basic layer, I don't know if you've been to Singapore, you know, everything is on unique ID, which is called Sync Pass. So if you have the Sync Pass, which is unique ID, and similarly for the corporate pass for the corporates, I think that layer, which is a digital identity layer, is quite unique. And on top of that, they have put a payment layer, which is digital payment layer. And on top of that, they have implemented under GovTech a solution called SG Findex, which basically means you can do financial planning. So you could have multiple bank accounts, you can have multiple insurers, you would be probably having multiple properties. Everything is sitting in this layer so that even the tax filing, you don't have to file. The government will tell you this is your tax implication. You don't have to tell the government that you bought a property. The government already knows. So the entire ecosystem has changed, and of course, a lot of business models. And I think the biggest impact is to the citizens, to the people, to the SMEs. So I think that has been implemented because the foundations are strong. You know, it's like creating a house. So when you make a house, the blueprint or the foundation has to be for the future. Whether it's 1 story, 2 story, you want to expand horizontally or vertically. I think that foundation that these countries have done, including Korea, Australia, India, by making that stack and what Mr. Faiz was mentioning, I think is the crux of the whole ecosystem.
Thank you, Rohit. I think that's very insightful, and something goes clearly with Mr. Faiz Taib has also said. Now, with all that ambition to create that right kind of foundation, comes the use of data. How do you aggregate the data of people, of companies? I'll probably switch to Bida at this stage. Bangladesh is currently at a cusp of formulating those policies and trying to create that attractiveness for the investors. But at the same time, we have this something in the back of our mind. How do we protect our data? So what is the best way to make this balance between innovation and regulation from Meta's perspective?
Thank you, Akhir Bhai. So hi, everybody. My name is Razan Sarwar, and as I was introduced, I head up public policy for Bangladesh and Nepal at Meta. And I think you ask a very sort of important question where we're looking at, from Meta's perspective, what is attractive, right? At the end of the day, we are absolutely pro-regulation, right? We know that things like data protection, data privacy require legislation. And in order to create that balance between innovation and regulation, it is sort of vital at the crux of it to consult with the experts in the field, with tech companies, with a broad variety of tech companies. And so, in order to really establish that technical knowledge and that the legislation at the end of the day, in practice, does allow for that innovation to take place. If we look at it as a sort of a carrot and stick model, shall we say, historically, Bangladesh has sort of deferred to the stick model. And I think now there's a real opportunity to use it as a carrot model, where legislative policies are much more attractive and entice companies to come into the country. In an ideal world, say, we're looking at content regulation legislation. For companies like ours, something like safe harbor provisions or intermediary liability are sort of vital in terms of a market that is attractive for us to function in. When it comes to data protection legislation, it's not just about hard localization that stops cross-border data flows, right? It's about ensuring that there is a wide variety of mechanisms to allow that global transfer of data to take place. This is now notwithstanding that there's not protections on the data of the Bangladeshi people, right? That is absolutely vital to moving forward with innovation. But at the end of the day, when you want to balance these two out, you can't not consult with industry. You can't not consult with the experts. And I think I appreciate Faizpai's offer to, engage proactively, because that is something that we are always happy to do. I'm going to just quickly close this out by saying, we're really, really sort of amazed at the resilience of Bangladesh's institutions, right? So soon after a pretty significant shock to the governance system, all of us are here at an investment summit, at such an enormous event, looking at opportunities in the market. And I think it really speaks to all of us also being here that we identify those opportunities in the market. And we would hope, I think, that the carrot analogy, at least from Meta's side, holds true.
No, thanks, Ruzan. I think that really sets out a very good context for the country's current policymakers as well as institutions, what lens we need to use in dealing with data for policy formulation and use of this. So next, probably I'll move to Otto. Grameenphone being one of the largest user of data and facilitating all this digital inclusion for the countries for so long time. How do you think this is important in creating inclusive digital ecosystem the data, the importance of data policy, what you like to see in the cross-border data sharing policy and data policy, this kind of stuff, and also overall IT infrastructure that Bangladesh hold for digital companies to grow into next stage.
Thank you, and good morning, everyone. This is a very important issue that you're raising, and having 85 million customers in Bangladesh working on our network 24/7, obviously providing access to everyone in the country. That's the core of our business. We are reaching every corner of the country, every village, and we have the highest traffic of data in Bangladesh of any party. So data security is also at the core of how we are working. And we are investing obviously a lot of both money and competence in that area. We have to be, now that everything is getting integrated with everything all the time, this is obviously becoming even more important. And I really welcome the new policy initiatives that is coming from the government. They are fundamental. And for us, those are very important because all the policies, they have to provide the high-level principles so that everybody can work against. Because when we are integrated with everybody, we need to have those principles that everybody understands, that everybody applies to. And then I agree with Rizan that we have to, the industry is so dynamic, is so fast-moving, and technology with AI is moving so fast that we in the industry, we need to be able to move fast as well. But having these policies on a top level provide all the principles, then I think as an industry, we have to work very closely together in order to provide data security. And there are many, obviously, when you share so much data, we have at the core of the way we do, there's a lot of technology, but also principles for us, like you minimize what you share. You anonymize what you share. And there's a lot of technologies that we can apply. And in this very fast-moving and integrated world, we would like to see actually to get more investment in Bangladesh and more activities in Bangladesh. But we will also need to work with international leading players, be it cybersecurity and other. So we need to have that flexibility to work with the best to the interest of all our customers. And for that, the high-level principles and the technology that we will apply and getting more investment into Bangladesh so we can do more locally. And I would like to add, I think it's fair also to raise that issue that we have to allow in Bangladesh the companies with the capabilities and the capital to move fast. So I'm also very motivated to hear about the licensing regime, so that anybody, those companies with capabilities and with capital can deploy that very fast and bring the best of technology to Bangladesh as fast as possible. So I would say the prospects of this country have never looked better with all the initiatives from the government. I think the industry is ready to cooperate with the government and with our technology partners. So I'm very positive, I'm very enthusiastic about the period to come.
Thank you, Otto. I think your deliberation could not be better in the context of what we are trying to portray to the investors as well, and how Bangladesh can be a potential from government side. All the supports are there. From the private side, people who are already successful here, how they are betting for it. And from that, I'll probably shift the gear a bit, moving from data and policy slightly toward the payment ecosystem, which is also integral to create the experience, to foster the growth in the nation. And Mr. Infang, you have been working with this Alipay ecosystem and transforming that experience of billions of people in China, not only in the people level, but also in the SME and institutional level. So what are those things that Alipay has done to influence the inclusive digital ecosystem in China? I know, very big, broad question, key highlights only. Over to you, Infang.
Thank you, Akir, and good morning. My name is Infan, and I'm from Ant International. Actually, this is a very good question to summarize the 20 years journey we just celebrated last December. And you start with payment, and I think payment is the foundation of all these possibilities. But the topic today is about digital economy. So there sounds like a gap between payment and the digital economy. But I will show you in the past 20 years how we start to, based on payment, but did our journey beyond just payment. So as we look back to 2005, where we just started using QR and mobile phones by that time to make many of the underbanked population to make their smoothest offline and online payment use of their mobile phone and QR code. This basically create an account system and a credit base and a database for us. And then after 5 years development on the payment stage of our company, moving towards around 2010, we start to do something beyond just payment. What we did first is we introduced the very first money market fund using the 1 RMB minimum investment ticket. So everyone in before, when they want to buy a money market fund in China, they have to go to a bank to open an investment account, then go to a security brokerage to open a security investment account. These licenses are very complicated. But from 2010, we started to introduce an integrated system in Alipay. So if I have some savings on my balance account in my Alipay, why not I put that into a money market fund? And by that time, the interest rate in China was quite good. I recall that was almost 6 to 7% year on year. So I put some of my leftover money, maybe just 600 RMB or 1,000 RMB, but I can utilize that saving in a real-time cash-in, cash-out money market fund produced by us. And this is an inclusion for investment for many young people, for many SMEs in China. And then beyond that, we become the largest distributor of mutual funds in China in terms of asset under management through the Alipay system. And I do like the point you guys made on the open ecosystem. We are not just selling our own fund. We actually does not sell our own fund. We are a platform to help other distributors, other asset managers to distribute their funds via our platform. And beyond that investment and saving, we start to realize actually SMEs we serve, because many of the shops we provide the ecosystem for their payment acquiring business, they also have financial needs. But we have the data of their daily transactions. And what we can do with their daily transactions to provide something called credit-based loan, collateral-free, credit-based, real-time loan. So we start to come up with something about the very initial idea of digital banking in China. We call that virtual banking. And we have a concept called 310. And this is considered very pioneering in China. But by that time, the regulators gave us a lot of space to do the innovation. So what 310 means is it will take you 3 minutes if you are an SME to upload all the information for a bank account opening, a virtual bank account opening via the Alipay app, 3 minutes. And then it will take 1 second for us to use our risk management engine and in cooperation with the KYC process to help you to predict what is your credit line in our bank in China, 1 second. And then entire process will have 0 human interference. So basically with 3 minutes plus 1 second, you will have a credit line for you and you can get cash loan for your business. And this is powerful.
Just interject,
Yeah.
Infang, to ask that question. how some of those things, probably this particular one, is also Ant is helping through partnership in Bangladesh and transferring that technological know-hows and getting those benefits, like the journey you said, from 0 to 20 years, how that is also transforming us. Maybe you can also shed some light around that.
Thank you, Akia. I shouldn't have the drink with you last night. You know too much about us. So this is what we did in China. But what's the next? So after the pandemic, we saw the e-wallets, the digital payment in this region, especially in the Asia Pacific, becoming dominating. And I saw many of the payment methods in this market has been digitalized. But actually, in 2018, our company made a very smart decision to partner with a local partner here, which is Bcash. I'm sure you all know that company. We are not building an Alipay Bangladesh, but we partner with a local team, a local entrepreneurship business to provide our know-how and technology and help them because they know the customer, they know the local user behavior, and help them together with us to share our experience with them to build up the payment system here. But I think last year we started experimenting the same methodology, how to provide collateral-free lending business to the individuals. And I think the current service we provide to you is a limit of 30,000 DBT. I think if you open your Bcash app, I'm sure many of you have, go to the credit loan page, you can see how many credit line you have. This is not based on your collateral, based on your deposit. This is based on your daily transaction with Bcash. And this is very powerful. And this is all about financial inclusion.
Does this also follow that 3-1-0 rule?
I think we are trying to help Bcash to build up faster, but that requires lots of modeling data and how we manage the risk. The key is the risk management.
Thank you, Infan. Yep, I think that's what the future looks like for us, right?
We would love to do that.
Yes, I do. Thank you. I wanted to pick up on your open ecosystem point a little bit because I think that's probably one of the most significant value adds as a company I think Meta has made the decision to do. So I think, I'm not sure how many of you are aware of this, but Meta chose to open source its large language model Llama, right? And to contextualize this a little bit, right? This means that any developer can go to the Llama website and download the large language model and use it for free, right? Now, the baseline behind this is it takes about $35 billion to train Llama. And we made the highly impactful decision to allow it to be open source. Now, we didn't deploy it in all markets, right? Because at the end of the day, we deploy our technology in markets that are conducive. It is not available in a number of EU markets. It's not available in Hong Kong. It is available in Bangladesh, right? And that is a really powerful mechanism for Bangladeshi developers to be able to utilize. And so, talking about the open ecosystem point, if large language models are not open source, that means only a very small group of highly resourced organizations or individuals would be able to access that AI technology. And for us, we chose to go in the opposite route. And we really truly do believe that the open source approach is the way to sort of democratize artificial intelligence. And hopefully that is something that Bangladeshi developers, users, citizens will really be able to take advantage of and build solutions for the country.
Fantastic. I think great insights again, Rujan. Really very insightful to know something which is not there in EU, but deployed in Bangladesh. And that's a great example how companies like Meta are investing on this country, right? Now I think we'll move to our central bank official and also regulator for banking. I think, sir, all eyes on now you. Meta wants to do something that they have not done for even EU. Grameenphone is saying they want to grow bigger, and there is need for public-private partnership, the inclusive collaboration to achieve that inclusive growth. And is saying they are partnering with local entrepreneurs to transform Bangladesh And I think Rohit also shared some of his experience from Singapore. With all this come in mind, what is your lens to it and how you think government is enabling it and how government can play more role into the whole growth journey? Over to you, sir.
Thank you. Good morning. It's a different question though. Let me give you some idea on this particular topic. As central bank, we are always open to everyone to provide policy support to develop our country. From the very beginning, from 1972, before or after my birth, and from that day to till date, central bank is always promoting local investment, country development, whatever the model is to support it. We are providing support for that. Let me give you a real life example on this part. Back in 2010 or 2012, we have accepted that some banks may require cloud service to deliver their services smoothly. We have accepted and we have allowed them to go to the cloud solution to make their expenses minimum. But later on, after some time, let's consider after 2020, government has decided to introduce a cloud policy, which we have repeatedly requested the government that we do need to accommodate the existing market environment so that they can work efficiently. But somehow it did happen. Our advisor already said that they are going to review the document like cloud policy as well as Personal Data Protection Act as well as Cybersecurity Ordinance. If those are changes, those restrictions are opened, then we will also open that one because we always follow law of land. So according to the law of land, we used to customize or update our policies and practices every day. So we are waiting for the government. If government provides some openness on that particular segment, that is okay.
I think, sir, just to add to that, from our first-hand hands-on experience, we are also seeing central bank is asking banks to apply to them for having something in cloud, but they are also giving the approvals after review and all these things. Because in now, using Microsoft 365 in office setting in Bangladesh is not something, it's very normal. So this kind of thing, I think we'll have to kind of allow at a very BAU level, business as usual. And that's what I think you referred to, that how you can really make the regulation more seamless so that companies and banks on the necessary cloud storage and using cloud may not have to come to the central bank even, they can do those things.
Agreed. Let me give you some other options also. Like Office 365 or other applications, as per the government policy, cloud policy, existing cloud policy, no existing organization in Bangladesh can use cloud. That is clearly specified here. There because of personal data protection issues. Okay. So what is happening in reality, some banks, those we have permitted to them, as well as some private institutions, they are using clouds. So what could be the win-win situation for this? Why government did go for that one? Government's ambition was to introduce local infrastructure, local cloud within our boundary, so that the local entrepreneurs can develop by themselves, local skill resources can improve. Those are not there. If we go for public cloud outside our country, then we cannot improve our local industry. We cannot improve our local skill set. So considering that part, some countries like Saudi Arabia, Qatar, Nigeria, and some other countries, they have already introduced their local cloud, completely local cloud for financial and non-financial government activities. So if our government considers that part, then it will be more helpful for us because organizations will have cloud facility within the territorial boundary, and we will have external investment also, we will have local resources also. They can build their overall ecosystem within the country. And that will be a great help for the country. We may consider that part also. Let me add some other more issues. We are planning to introduce financial cloud locally in Bangladesh.
Okay, sir.
Possibly it will be operational very soon. We are working on that part, and these will create business opportunity of local resources and international resources also.
Wonderful, sir.
That will be there.
Wonderful, sir. I think that point brings me to the point everyone probably highlighted. It came out very clearly in Otto's speech that consultation and the dialogue between private and public sector, that is very crucial. What actually the private sector really need, given the infrastructure they have already built. I think it may not be 100% replicable to any other countries. Bangladesh is Bangladesh, right? So I think probably we have to build on that and do necessary to strengthen that. Thank you, sir. Then, Otto, I'll come to you again. I think Grameenphone knows a lot about the skill set, technology skill set of people in Bangladesh. Yesterday in the inauguration session, when as a country we kind of pitched to the global investors to count on 114 million Bangladeshi skill force, they are the reason why they should invest. And this number is collectively the number together that has Thailand and Vietnam has together. So the question is this 114 million, are they all future ready? Do they all have the necessary knowledge, skills, and tech expertise to really thrive for future?
Yeah, it's a very good question. First of all, I would say that there is a tremendous amount of skills and competence in this country waiting to come to big companies and use their skills. And a little personal story, I come from Norway. It's a very cold country. We like low voices. We don't like, things are very calm. Here, I was totally amazed when I came to Grameenphone. There is so much energy, and there is so much commitment, and there's so much engagement. And when you combine that with skills, it's explosive. And I would say, Dr. Yunus yesterday made a fantastic speech on how Grameenphone started. I'm equally impressed by Grameenphone today and the young people. We are, I think, one of the most efficient operators in the world. And that's the skills of Bangladeshis working for us. We're almost only Bangladeshis. It's fantastic. It's fantastic. Then I have to say, if I am good today, I was good yesterday, I'm not good enough tomorrow. Things are moving so fast today with technology. So I think we all, companies, the government, and society at large, and educational institutions, we have to cooperate. And we have to increase our efforts to capture this fantastic AI tool that is now developing. And there is not that we are competent, we have competence. This competence has to be renewed every day. And I think that has to be a common effort between business and government and companies and institutions.
Thank you, Otto. I think toward the end of the panel, I would be slightly focusing on the digital commerce. So from payments to commerce, including some element of cross-border e-commerce. And maybe, Infang, question to you. How you see that prospect in Bangladesh, making international services, goods available for the people who want to use that as a fair price, which price is available to the whole world population. So how to enable that, making digital commerce, taking digital commerce into next level? Maybe we have some elements on that, Infang.
Yeah, I think this is a very critical topic in business to ourselves. Cross-border payment, if we took that larger corporates, multinational corporates, these are, of course, very large, and they are very well served by the banks, especially by the foreign banks in many markets. And for us, when we look at cross-border payment, we really focus on two very targeted group. One is the SMEs for corporate, and one is individuals. So in our strategy, we have the two T's, travel and trade, individual travel and SME trade. And I note that the policy advisors note on the ratio of the contribution of SME to your GDP and to your employment is 23% and 80%. And imagine all these population, or all that segment of the GDP is actually not export ready because they don't know how to do it in the past. But now with e-commerce platform globally, how we can encourage all these SMEs to think about not just serving the domestic market, but you can actually participate in global trade. And if the previous 40 years of globalization is dominated by multinational companies, I think the next 40 years of global trade, whatever happened tomorrow with the ongoing discussion, but I think SMEs will be able to access this global trade. And we call that inclusiveness of SMEs to the trading. So the cross-border payment should serve that segment. So we have to make that very clear at the very first. And then the rest is how we work with our partners, how we work with the regulators to come up with a solution from the private sectors. But I think in the G20 level, there's a very clear roadmap calling for cheaper, faster, more transparent, more efficient payment system. I think we are working with everyone to make that happen, including with our partner Bcash here.
Fantastic, fantastic. Maybe the last question of the panel to Meta related to the similar theme, how Meta empowers this small business to grow digitally, and what kind of government policy may better support this ecosystem, particularly for the SMEs?
Thank you. I'm happy to also close on this note too. So I think for Meta platforms, Facebook, Instagram, WhatsApp, for us, small businesses, individual entrepreneurs are sort of a core group of users who are able to really grow their footprint through our digital services, right? And that's something that we are very proud of, enabling entrepreneurs to sort of showcase the work that they're doing. At the crux of this, though, I think there are some relics of the old Bangladesh that prevent these small businesses, smaller entrepreneurs, developers from being able to really harness the power of technology, right? One of those things is a limit on credit card transactions, right? If a developer wants to be able to purchase state-of-the-art software, it's difficult to be able to do that. A focus on cashless payments would then also really enable the developer community to be able to take advantage of the full suite of products that we have available. If a small entrepreneur wants to advertise more widely on our platform, they need a cashless mechanism to be able to do so. And so, looking at these sorts of, at least in my view, some of the lower hanging fruit, very simple solutions that would allow for much larger adoption of digital services. I think that's sort of the crux of what we're talking about when we're looking at digital transformation, right? In addition to the larger question of economic diversification, just quickly, Bangladesh's economy is pretty heavily reliant on a small handful of traditional types of industry, right? But then, traditional industry is also then highly vulnerable to economic shocks. So what do you look for in terms of moving forward? You look at non-traditional, you look at the digital economy, you look at spaces that would really allow you to flourish. And I really do think that Bangladesh is absolutely capable of doing that.
Fantastic. That's really encouraging. Yes, Otto, yeah, one final note, this is for you. Maybe 30 seconds.
Yeah, if I can make a short comment. So in the way business runs today, most companies are having a license to do some kind of business, and then we have to constantly go to ask for approvals from payments, for businesses and everything. in now the technology shift that we see, and if we really want to accelerate the digital development in Bangladesh, that model has to be renewed. And like I said, we want and we need regulation on a high level, which is the principles, but we have to let companies operate fast and efficiently. And like you said, we have to find the best in class in terms of software. And if it takes like months to get approval for first to order it and then afterwards to pay, that is too slow. And we do pay a premium today due to that process. So in Bangladesh, my estimate is that we pay a 20% premium on cost due to the fact that we cannot freely choose a foreign partner, the best of the best, and then afterwards have a long-term relationship, because we are always dependent on micro approvals. So I think that is very important to, now that we're working on the policies, that we make just business much more efficient, and that we have good regulation on the top, and then let the companies run the business.
That is the call of the hour, Otto. Totally agree to that. Sir, any just final note from you, 30 seconds to the audience, and also in the context of what we have heard so far?
Okay, regarding payment system, let me give you one information that we are going to introduce interoperable interactive payment solution by 2026 positively. So that will be less cost or low cost solution. And as well as we have improved our credit information system, and we are also going to work on MRS credit information system. Possibly those two will be integrated together.
Thank you.
So these two, and I will encourage all the investors to consider automation in the SME sector, to consider development of the local local resources. Like most of the investors are used to come here, and most of the IT companies, they are used to come here to sell the product, not to develop our local resources. So I will request you to consider that part so that you can invest on our resources to improve their skill set, mostly for fourth-year students of the universities, public and private universities. If they are skilled enough, then they will be helpful for our local industry, they will be helpful for the international industry also. So please consider that part. And this will also, in other way around, help us to improve our financial literacy, because what we are doing, all type of automated transactions are mostly covered by the financially literate peoples, but not financially not literate people. They are not using that one because they don't know how to use that one. So financial literacy is more important to improve the quality of the technology adoption. So that will be helpful. If you consider investment on this part, it will be also helpful for us. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. So I think one of the most important points that Special Assistant to the Chief Advisor, he highlighted, the interoperability, not only in the payment system, across all systems of governments that provide services to people, across all systems that integrate government and private sector and people. That interoperability is really required at this stage, I think, for the digital economy to get into next stage and to flourish. And with that, I would like to, sir.
So before that, in that case, what we could do, like personal data protection, considering that part.
Sir.
Some countries are used to use ID and fingerprint.
Yes.
That's enough to identify a person. If we go for that one, if our national policy supports that one, then we can change our KYC, EQIC, or whatever to that simplified form, only national ID or any ID and fingerprint. If that is enough to identify a person, then it will be more easier to interoperable or integrate with multiple applications.
That will be one big step to that overall integration. Thank you, sir, and thank you everyone for your patience sharing. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. We're just now moving to the next segment of our session. We'll just take a minute or so. we're just moving to the most interesting part of the segment, so I would request everyone to please remain seated. So, as we know, the primary objective of this investment summit has been to attract investments, and investors are more inclined to hear from global companies who have actually tested this ground and have made success by investing in Bangladesh. And that takes us to the next segment, where we will hear about some of the success stories in Bangladesh. So we would like to hear from an organization now who has been a game changer in the digital space for more than 27 years and contributes significantly to countries' development by improving connectivity, especially in rural areas, and boosting the economy through revenue generation and digital transformation initiatives. Yes, we are referring to Grameenphone, and I would like to invite Mr. Yasir Osman, Chief Executive Officer, Grameenphone, to showcase our investment success stories. So Yasir Bhai, the floor is all yours. I would request everyone to give a big round of applause.
Good morning. Am I audible? And greetings from Grameenphone and Assalamu alaikum, everyone. My topic, as you see, that alpha return. So we don't have any actually solid one alpha return definition, right? So it differs from industry to industry. And for telco, it could be like 15% to have a very good alpha return if it is more than the sectoral return of an investment. But yesterday, when I was in this event, this inauguration event, the Bida chairman at his opening speech mentioned that just don't join for your economic benefit. How can you join to transform the country? That join the transformative journey of a nation. And then we also heard from our Honorable Chief Advisor. He talked about make profit, good profit, but how can you give a little bit towards the society where you are doing business? If this happens, if a company gets alpha return and the nation and society gets return, is there a separate definition? Is that something called alpha square return? If it is both. I believe the story of Grameenphone is alpha square return. If we talk about last 28 years of Grameenphone story. On top of that, if you are investing into this country, the story of Grameenphone, the way it has navigated over the last 28 years, we believe that it is possible to invest first time into a country and become multinational. If you see what is there in the back, the logo of Grameenphone back in 1997 to 2006, and eventually the organization becomes a true global multinational. Grameenphone is the first investment for Telenor in Asia, and the second investment as a whole altogether. So within that last 28 years, journey of Telenor being a global player in the telecom space is actually a journey of also Grameenphone, starting in Bangladesh. It's a hands-on together. It's the same time. A local, a Nordic company becoming a global, multinational, global player in the telecom space. And that's how you can believe in this country when you invest. Yes, I will talk about, of course, there are risks, there are challenges, there are hurdles, but it is possible. When we talk about alpha return for us, for Grameenphone, and then I try to define if that alpha return happens for the society as well, and if it is alpha square return, how does it look like? So we are number one in market cap. 400 billion dividends since it's, in the capital market from 2009. At this point of time, yield is 10% plus, 15% plus return on assets. Of course, we talk about this is, if you take telecom industry, the return is standard probably 7 to 9%. And if you come to Bangladesh, if they are high risk, you'd obviously expect that the 15% return is there to have a long-term sustainability of your business. But then you go to then the contribution to the nation. It's not only when we say the big telco operation, it is also the second largest in terms of when we contribute to the national exchequer. Our contribution over the last 28 years and 1.3 trillion BDT to the national exchequer. We are number one and number two always as a taxpayer, and we are happy to be really compliant and to contribute. When we say that return is for us, the return should also go to the national exchequer, and it will also go to the society, the individuals. And there comes the communities, We are working relentlessly. From the inception, the story we heard yesterday, for the rural women to empower with mobile connectivity. That journey still continues, probably a little different model. Giving the digital literacy to the rural people, to the children in the school, in the primary school, towards the parents, towards the teachers, because it has to be inclusive, everyone, when we get into the journey of digital economy in Bangladesh. 3.1 million people, women, 55% of them are women, trained on digital skills over the last 4 years. And it's not through the digital platforms, in being onto the ground, one-on-one, in-person training programs ran by the organization. And that's how, probably when we saw the topic, navigating Bangladesh is, yes, of course you get the return. Of course you contribute back to the national exchequer. Of course you contribute back to the society. And these numbers is always meaningful. This navigation in Bangladesh, always meaningful. When you have this, when you focus the true essence of your service, in the center of everything is this 84.9 million customers we have in Grameenphone network. We talk about regulations, we talk about policies, we talk about our spectrum, our innovation. Everything, if we bring them into the center, things get easier. Because regulation is not for probably the companies to make money. Regulations is these customers to get the service and really get empowered, embarked on the journey of digital inclusion. And then this is not only numbers. These are individuals. They are making difference in the society. And there we are navigating. There we are trying to do difference, make difference. At the end, probably in the balance sheet, we see the alpha return for us, for the society, for the country. But this is what we do every day, every minute, and every seconds. And these three stories, I will not have much more than probably talking about these three stories, is experienced by myself on the ground in all across Bangladesh. There are millions of such stories. The first one, Chumki Rani Borman, is from a Sunamganj fisherman community, where it's very small, underprivileged community, using YouTube, learning the modern design of dresses for girls and selling those into that community at a very low price. And she is getting motivated by the smile of those girls. Those are buying these small dresses. We see it's for her, it's life. For us, it's business. We are talking about connectivity because she's giving them the possibility of, the payment for her. YouTube is doing business there. And they are what not? Designer, health, education. This is the business. And there, how can you serve better? With your seamless services, with better regulation and better policies. Moon, in the middle, is a mango grower in Rajshahi. When I met him first time 5 years back, and when we met recently, there's a big difference. He didn't know how to sell mangoes. He was selling mangoes over truck in Dhaka, and those were getting loaded. And he was not able to sell. Now he's sending mangoes to Germany. He started Facebook commerce without training. He got certified by the Agricultural Ministry, and now he is doing that. There comes again all this fintech. there comes all those solutions that he needs to really make difference in that small community. He is that inspiring story behind our Alpha return. Last but not least, Pooja, I met her in it's in Tea Garden. This girl is an amazing story. During COVID, they got out of school. And was it a time to drop from the school or not? And her father bought one 6-inch device for 5 girls to, fulfill the gap of having the teachers because they were not able to travel during COVID period. All 5 of them passed SSC examination, riding on that small device. And they are now, after 3 years, they are now preparing for the universities. These are the stories. When we can serve, we can think our services to bring in, we will thrive. That's probably all the story I have. But when we talk about them, the Grameenphone, out of our social commitment, we also run different programs to also enable them to fulfill their gap. We have a program called GP Academy. We have different training programs. We have so far enabled more than 100,000 students from different universities to get different skills starting from AI to basic, freelancing services. We have GP Accelerator. We have actually hosted more than 100 startups to equip them with the assets we have so that they can take their ideas to the market. We have Interneted Dunia Shobar, which is Internet for All. We have covered within 2 years more than 2,000 unions to train women on the basic e-commerce knowledge and skill set. And that's how it's possible to really win-win. Their inspiring mind, their ideas, their resilience, their creativity. How can you ignite with your service and make a situation where it's win-win? It's like from a CEO of Grameenphone, as an investor's perspective, if you ask and whether I invite, I first ask myself whether I get that urge from my board to invest before I ask you to invest in Bangladesh. So my first message is, of course, it is not impossible. I see within that impossible, it is I am possible. We have a situation, probably there were no regulation to a micro-regulation situation. We have seen that. We have got into a difficult situation. We have a situation of warm environment to come and establish business, inviting Norwegians to come here, from there to financial disputes. It's not easy. There are hurdles, but are you believing in those, your true essence of your service, those customers? Are you able to make the difference? Everything will get sorted out one day, today and tomorrow. And today when we hear, yesterday we heard from our Bida chairman, and today we heard from our policy advisor, to the chief advisor, Tayab Bhai, all are talking about how they are making the policies even more friendly towards the business, the regulations. If that is so, I will ask and urge, let's put our hands together to take this transformative journey of Bangladesh forward. I'll not get into the details of this economy, demography, reform. There are so many other reasons to invest, our geographic location, our talents, the youth in Bangladesh, in this country. Nowhere you can go and have the age of people like me to mold, hold, and develop them to serve the customers. You can come to Bangladesh, where you will have the youth, where you can really build your own culture. You can mold them, hold them together. You can learn from them and make them learn something new and innovate services. So it's not only economy, it's not only demography, it's not only reform, what is happening in the society. It is not only the geographic location, it is also those youth as in power in Bangladesh if you set a business. And if you can navigate through this with your firmness, you are there to get the alpha return. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Yasser Bhai. And I think, as usual, we are all aware how Grameenphone has been contributing towards the economy, and the way you presented the success story definitely made a lot of impact, at least to me, and I'm sure to the investors as well. So after hearing from a company who has been here for about 27 years, which was Grameenphone, now let us hear from another company who has invested relatively recently and has been operating in the country for now almost 9 years and have made equal contribution towards the economy by providing a convenient and reliable transportation option, generating economic activity, and offering flexible earning opportunities for driver partners. Yes, we are talking about Uber, who has almost changed the lifestyles of the people of Bangladesh. So big round of applause for Uber, please. So Uber has accommodated almost 174 million rides so far, contributing towards 55 billion BDT towards the economy. Oh, okay. Hi, Mike. Okay, so Mike is already here. Thank you. I was about to invite Mike Orgale, Senior Director, Public Policy and Governance Relations, Asia Pacific Uber. Mike, thank you so much. Thank you. Please, a big round of applause. So Mike, I hope you don't mind standing.
I'll do whatever you want. Yeah.
Okay. So Mike, we were just talking about Uber. So first of all, just a very brief question. So how are you feeling about Bangladesh? Is it your first time visiting Bangladesh?
This is not my first time in Bangladesh.
Okay, I think this is...
This is on? How's this? Oh, okay. No, it's not my first time in Bangladesh. I've been here probably 8 to 10 times in the past decade. Absolutely love it, and it's so inspiring to see all the energy right now.
Thank you. I think that is what we want to hear from the investors, and that is what we want to see as well. So just in the interest of saving time, I'll be very brief, Mike. So one of the first questions I had was, given Uber's digital footprint, how were digital and data-related policies you think might shape up in coming future? Because a lot of activities are going around, Data Protection Act, cloud policies. I know in Bangladesh, storing these data points are usually a hurdle for the investors. So how do you look at it, or what is Uber doing about it?
Well, certainly I think we can all agree that data protection really underpins our ability to have a functioning digital ecosystem. And so I think that getting it in place soon is absolutely critical. And so really commend the government for its quick momentum right now to move those laws into place. I think the key thing from our perspective, having seen these laws around the world, is really making sure that the settings are fine-tuned and those little details matter. And so I'll give an example. Whenever you go on the internet and you go to a European website, you get those really annoying little cookie things. They say, do you want this? Do you want this? And we have that consent fatigue. And we've realized over time is that while the intent was spot on, people should understand how their data is being used, the actual implementation can get really kind of annoying, or it can be done kind of wrong. And so I think one of the key things is, as we look at the data protection ordinance in Bangladesh, is really ensuring that all those settings are right, so that we get the policy goals of protecting user data in place correctly, but also at the same time ensure that it's viable for companies that have to operate a meaningful business.
Great. No, thank you. So that brings me to my next question. So now, since we've been talking a lot about, digital tools, AI, blockchain, etc. So from Bangladesh perspective, how do you think, what kind of digital policies should we have, or what kind of policies we should have that would promote AI in a governed manner? Can you share some maybe best practice that you've seen globally from Uber's perspective?
Yeah, I think the jury is still out a little bit on what the best practices for AI regulation are. I think there's a lot of really smart attention that's going into it right now. But I think sort of the underpinning things of data protection is super important. I think having people be informed and making sure that we have the right digital literacy in place. I think, again, what Bangladesh is doing right now in terms of getting digital public infrastructure in place is going to be absolutely critical. So I guess I think we're still seeing the AI space evolve very quickly. We've seen some countries move too quickly, I think, to put in rules that don't allow for innovation. And so I think being able to be measured and to ensure that we're listening to stakeholders is going to be absolutely critical.
Thank you. The last question from me. So what's next from Uber? Because today I think Uber, as I was mentioning initially, that it has become a part of our lifestyle, right? Without Uber, we cannot, at least I cannot think of a day without Uber. So what's next? What are you bringing next for Bangladesh?
Well, for Bangladesh, I won't tell you, but maybe what I'll share is where we're going internationally. I think the things that I'm most excited about are the future being shared, being electric, multimodal, and autonomous. And so this idea that we are going to be able to move, within the next decade or two to fully electric fleets. I think our commitment is by 2040 around the world, and so that transition is incredibly important. I think the idea of multimodal transportation, where perhaps you get an Uber Moto to a public transport station and then pick up an Uber car to go to your work, like having that interconnected thing at play. And then finally, I think the space around autonomous is moving very, very quickly. We've now launched autonomous partnerships with a number of different companies around the world. So you can now get an autonomous vehicle in places like Austin or Dubai. And I think that as that technology evolves, I think we will eventually see it here. I think there will have to be some very specific training for the Bangladesh traffic, but I think there's certainly a future for Uber that looks very different than it does today.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Mike. Thanks a lot for your time. A big round of applause for Mike, please. Thank you. Okay, so I think we have next another success story. So we would hear from another groundbreaking company who has revolutionized the payments industry by bringing millions of previously unbanked individuals into the formal financial system, providing access to essential services like money transfers, payments, and savings. At this point in time, I would like to invite Mr. Kamal Kadir, Chief Executive Officer, Bikash, to the stage, please. A big round of applause for Kamal Bhai.
I think this one works, so I don't need this. Well, let me start with a little Bangla first. I think I have a little problem here. মানে বাংলা আছে না যে নদীর রচনা মুখস্থ করে আসে বাট গরু আসে, আমার ব্যাপারটা এরকম হয়েছে বিকজ আমাকে যখন অপশনগুলো দেওয়া হয়েছিল একটা অপশন ছিল যে লার্নিং ফ্রম বিকাশ, সো আই পিকড দ্যাট ওয়ান, বাট when I'm seeing the agenda, it says rise of digital commerce. I'll stick to my Guru, and I'll eventually go to some part of the Nodi. So if I can have the slides kindly. So while the slides are coming, my name is Kamal Kadir. I am the CEO of Bikash. We started conceptually. We started from 2008. And we have started serving customer from 2011. It has been 15 years. We serve 80 million customer. And I was so inspired hearing Azman Bhai talking about, the people's happiness. On the day before the Eid, we served 26.45 million people. Okay. So it generates tremendous happiness to my colleagues who have been working so hard for last 16 years that we are able to contribute in people's happiness on that day. So I will focus on the learning. So I think the first learning, I want to point out this handset. It was so inspiring to hear Dr. Mohammad Yunus speaking yesterday, the chief advisor for the government. না আমি এখনো যেতে চাইনি সেখানে, আমি ওখানেই থাকতে চাচ্ছি। আমি কিছু করিনি কিন্তু, হ্যাঁ ঠিক আছে, ওকে। তো see, we are an aspiring poor country, and that's what the aspiring part is so important, because you go to some part of the world, you go to Africa, in some places, you walk around in the street, you see a sense of hopelessness, and you don't see that in Bangladesh. At any point, when I go to the villages, when I speak to people who work in our house, the social mobilization is happening at an astonishing level, and that's what inspires us every day. That's what inspires my colleague, myself, and people like Azman. We come to work every day at 8 in the morning and work because there's so much to do here. So before we go there, let me put it this way. When I was in grad school, this basic thing occurred to me in a very simple way, that the processing capacity of the cheapest phone in the world, say even $11 phone, okay? The processing capacity it has is more than what NASA used in 1969 when man went to moon, okay? So by the time 2010, 2009 came, okay, Grameenphone, Banglalink, Robi, these companies have done astonishing job, okay, of course Teletalk as well, okay. They have brought this kind of handset in common people's life. And each cost $11 or 1100-1200 টাকা মতন, but they have this tremendous processing capacity. And unlike a BMW car, this thing is well distributed across the country. Everybody has it, okay. In the history of modern technology, this kind of democratization of tool has never taken place, okay. So we are going through an extremely lucky time that these kind of things are possible. Everybody has a very powerful tool in their hand. So then our job is to design a solution in a way that can solve a basic problem. And that was the first learning of bKash. So if you look at this thing, this handset cost $11, but the poor person who bought it, she spent another $1 covering up this thing with a plastic cover. It's almost like a raincoat, okay. So poor people, when they have some device, they try to protect it. This is their biggest investment, okay. And I find it's quite funny that little string. It reminds me the French aristocrats or certain European aristocrats who used to carry this pocket watch, and they used to have a very fancy chain around it to make sure that it doesn't get lost, okay. So for this person, that little $1 spending on the handset as well as on the cover page, is on the string, it's their little string, which later became fashion statement, but for them, it is the way to protect their investment. So when somebody has something like this, and countries add other infrastructure, other resources, okay, they have already set up a fantastic mobile infrastructure. Our first learning was how to use that for another level of services. So we looked at financial service, and Bangladesh Central Bank came up with wonderful, engaging regulation that could solve some of the problems. But main problem was financial service is designed not for the poor people through the conventional banking mechanism. Conventional banking mechanism looks at how much money are we making, and under certain, I mean, they put everything under one package and you cannot also blame them because 50, 60, 100 years ago, you cannot differentiate, you cannot customize things piece by piece. So let me give an example. Say right now t-shirts are sold small, medium, and large, and some cases XL. So they're saying your clothes must be, your body must be categorized in these 4 sizes. But unfortunately, we don't have those perfect bodies, okay? Our bodies are different shapes. Now, our body needs customized solution. It was not possible long time ago, or it was not possible last 20 years. But technology is allowing us to customize things as per our specific needs. So in the case of financial service, jeta age bank korte parini, now it's possible that you can break it down and you can make it in a way that it can be customized exactly for that customer. So when we do the research, I mean, people know about bKash from 2011, but we are researching about it since 2008. So when I was doing the research, what I saw, the average footfall cost average footfall cost for a bank, একটা ব্যাংক চালাতে গেলে একটা লোক যখন ব্যাংকে ঢোকে ওর পিছনে ব্যাংকের কত টাকা খরচ হয়? Roughly around $1.50. Okay. But if we look at Bangladesh's সাধারণ জনগণ, and what is the ticket size they have was around $1100. Okay, 1100 টাকা। তো যার পিছনে খরচ হচ্ছে 128 টাকা ওই আমলে আমার মনে আছে, আর তার সাধারণ জনগণের টিকিট সাইজ ইজ 1100 টাকা। তো 1100 টাকা খদ্দেরকে 150 টাকা বা 128 টাকা খরচ করে সার্ভ করা ইজ নিয়ার ইম্পসিবল। And where is this 128 টাকা? It's banker infrastructure, bank officer salary, bank's air condition, and all these kind of things. So what you do, you put a security guard like that in front of a bank branch. And when a carpenter, when a rickshaw puller, when an electrician sees this thing, they say, ekhane to amar jayga nei. They are looking for somebody like this. Okay. If a rickshaw gets this guy, rickshaw feels very happy. I can deal with this person. Okay. But rickshaw cannot deal with obviously the other guy. Rickshaw cannot deal with the guy with wearing a suit and ties. Okay. So we needed this guy to provide the service. Now the problem is, how do you bring the service to that guy? I mean, I'm assuming that guy got beard and now he's sitting happily in his shop. Okay. Now, here comes the simple economics of ROI. What we saw that somebody selling Unilever's soap, British American Tobacco's tobacco, chal, dal, piyaj, all these things. Now, every shopkeeper has a way of making money. They buy some commodity and then sell it to somebody. So what we fundamentally did, we converted money into a consumer goods. And we said now, this shopkeeper can buy some money, and that money will be, he will avail that service to customer who comes, and that way we brought down the price. But meanwhile, central bank made sure that while we have simplified this thing, but there is no compromise of the regulatory compliance. The two fundamental things that central bank is aware of, customers' fund protection and complete visibility of the fund. An entity like Bikash made sure those are never compromised. But in the process, you brought to the financial service to this level. Today, we have 350,000 agent points across the country. There is no point in the country where by walking, you cannot find a Bikash agent. So that's one learning I just wanted to share. But there's an economics behind it. So every time Bikash earns some money, 77% of that money goes to that person and his distributor. Because we need to adequately motivate that guy. Otherwise, he's going to say, I don't need to sell Bikash, I'm going to keep selling piyaj, okay, or kola, or whatever, okay? But you need to motivate that person. But if you can motivate that person, you can take the service to the remotest part of the country. So that's one learning. Now, this is a scary picture. This is all money. So the service started. We started reaching people. Millions of people are providing the service, and we are compliant to a level that we don't miss anything. And that's why 2,500 of my colleagues are working every day. Now, the massive amount of cash is getting piled up. Because in Bangladesh, things are not perfect. Okay. In Gazipur, in Narayanganj, in many parts of Dhaka, people are coming with physical money and saying, agent ke bolte, he's a human ATM basically, that here's my money, you give me electronic money. So if you go to Gazipur branches of banks, that's what you see, massive amount of money getting piled up. But if you go to Gaibandha, where people have come from Gaibandha to work in Dhaka, they're looking for electronic money. The electronic money is going over there. They are simply saying, now, here's the electronic money. I'm a rickshaw puller. My wife receives electronic money in Gaibandha, and she's now saying, I need some physical cash. I'm talking about 10, 12 years ago. So what sounded like a great idea, it ended up being a great nightmare. Okay, this is the kind of cash we are handling. And if you're a bank branch manager, just imagine the nightmare you need to handle. I heard some of the bank branches, local managers, Bikasher lokjon asle bathroom je sitke niye atke dito, and they would not come out. Let somebody else solve this problem. Okay. Now, BCG is an interesting force. If you want to fire your colleague, hire BCG. Because a colleague you have worked with for 10, 12 years, you cannot be tough on that guy. But BCG can be very tough. BCG can say that, a division take bondo kora dorkar. And then you go to your colleague and say, you know something, BCG said this division has to be closed. Okay. And so these guys are wonderful. They make fantastic things. I'm sorry, and I don't want to pick on BCG. Okay. When I came out of college, I was looking for a job at BCG. Okay. But I'm saying that you have to, we engage resources, we engage consultants who made fantastic presentation and finally made many people realize that this thing needs to be changed. We were holding all the money in one single bank. I'm talking about 2014, 2015. And it became a predictable problem that Bikasher money will be coming to the bank omokaware. And it creates lots of mishaps. And regulator was so engaged, they understood the problem, and they said, okay, let's change the regulation. And today, Bikash's fund, 77%, I think today is a little less, around 70% is government treasury, and the rest is with all the banks of Bangladesh. Okay. And what was a nightmare became a very convenient solution. So in last 17 years, as we are doing this Kormo Joggo, I'm just showing some of the solutions that we end up coming in solving the problem. Grameenphone solved one problem. They created infrastructure all over the world. We are creating another kind of, we are solving another kind of problem. And this is the way the world works. Okay. Uber, I love Uber. Uber would not work if Google Map were not there in the world. Okay. And I was so moved today when I was hearing the policy advisors' thoughts on data sharing and things sharing. Uber ke amra pay korchi, hoyto $30 pay korlam kono ekta jayga, we are paying $30. But perhaps $1 systematically goes to Google Map. And that's the way collaboration takes place. Today, when we're using bKash, many of you don't know, but without Grameenphone, without the bank's cash management service, we cannot survive. Okay. So Grameenphone also gets a little reward, okay, because of the service they provide. Banks also get some reward because of the service they provide. So we all are dependent on each other. So again, I just want to point out one thing. আমি কিছু করিনি কিন্তু AI apply হচ্ছে হ্যাঁ হ্যাঁ ভাইয়া কোন এক আপা কোন একটা ভাইয়া কিছু করছেন ওকে আমি এর পরে যেতে চাচ্ছি আমি যদি বলেন আমি করি তাহলে ওকে we stay there. So basic point হচ্ছে it was a great solution. It worked fantastically. Okay. And I will move to another solution. This is actually আমাকে কেউ যদি জিজ্ঞাসা করে যে কামাল এই বিকাশের 16 বছরের জার্নির মধ্যে what's the best decision? The best decision was using USSD. Okay, what is USSD? USSD is this crazy number *1234#. Unless you need it, people never remember it. Okay, when internet was shut down in July, August. Suddenly people all started to remember Bikash's USSD number ta koto. So when we started, the country did not have smartphones. Very few fancy people would be carrying some fancy phones. Okay? But the common people of the country, common people did not have fancy phones. But we were motivated to provide this service for the common people. So we said, okay, how do we do this thing? And that's where again, the technology operators of previous generation came up with great help. Telephone companies opened up the USSD network naturally with a service fee. So every time we are making some money, they are also making some money out of this thing. But the USSD technology, which allows any basic phone in the country to access our server, that option was opened up. So somebody from a Kalihate Gramer Moddhe who has never seen iPhone is using bKash. At the same time, somebody with a smartphone is also using bKash. Okay. So that kind of possibility had really opened up to create a universal platform. So my learning from that: don't wait for the perfect things to emerge, because perfect thing never really works. You need to move on with what you have. Okay. If we say, okay, আমি যেদিন অমুক হব, তারপরে তমুকটা হবে, তারপরে তমুকটা হবে, তারপরে অমুক দিন যাব, it doesn't work. Okay, it doesn't work, and you miss the boat. Okay. So I think this was a very right decision, and that's the learning I want to share. And I want to also recognize here, regulator played a role demonstrating the importance of creating an universal platform. Okay. And also the MNO operators also opened up the platform. I was asked to say a few things about the digital commerce. I want to make a simple point first. Let's talk about, let's buy the shirt first, then we buy the tie. E-commerce হতে যে বেসিক জিনিসগুলো দরকার, ফেডেক্সের মতো একটা এফিশিয়েন্ট একটা লজিস্টিক কোম্পানি দরকার, ভেরি এফেক্টিভ এসক্রো অ্যাকাউন্ট সিস্টেম দরকার। ওকে, তো এই জিনিসগুলো আমাদের কাজ করতে হবে। ওকে, তো হোয়াট ইজ পসিবল রাইট নাও, অ্যান্ড দ্য রেগুলেটর্স আর অলসো রেকগনাইজিং দ্য রিয়ালিটি। ওকে, দে আর প্রমোটিং পেমেন্ট। অ্যান্ড আমি আপনাদেরকে বলছি, আমাকে সবাই জিজ্ঞাসা করে যে কামাল, বিকাশের ক্যাশ আউট ফিটার কিছু করা যায় না? ওকে, সো আই সে ইন এ ভেরি সিম্পল থিং, যে ক্যাশ আউট করছেন কেন? ওয়াই ডোন্ট ইউ জাস্ট মেক এ পেমেন্ট? ওকে, গ্রামীণ ফোনের এয়ার টাইম কিনতে তো আমার কোনো এক্সট্রা খরচ হয় না। ওকে, সো ইফ পিপুল স্টার্ট মেকিং পেমেন্ট ডিজিটালি, ক্যাশ আউট কস্ট উইল গো ডাউন, মানে দেয়ার উইল বি নো ক্যাশ আউট ফি। ওকে, সো উই আর পুশিং পেমেন্ট ভেরি অ্যাগ্রেসিভলি। আমি তো এবার ঈদের সময় একটু বিব্রতই, মানে কোনো ইফতারে দাওয়াতে গেলে না জান হওয়ার আগে শুধু বিকাশের পেমেন্টের অ্যাড এমনভাবে দেখেছি যে আই ফিল লাইক ওকে থামো, মানে একটু মানে ওকে পিপল বুঝছে। ওকে, সো পেমেন্ট will be very effective. The other things my colleague from Ant Financial was mentioning about savings and lending. Okay, we are people are doing it at a astonishing level. আমি ডেটা দেখেছি যে রাত 3টার পরে, আই লুকড অ্যাট ডেটা, ইচ্ছা করেই মানে কমপ্লিকেটেড ওয়ে আই ফিল্টার্ড ইট, যে রাত 3টার পরে রিমোট ডিস্ট্রিক্টস, পুয়ার ডিস্ট্রিক্টস অ্যান্ড ওমেন কতগুলো সেভিংস করেছে রাত 3টা থেকে 5টার মধ্যে, ফ্রম মোরলেস এভরি ডিস্ট্রিক্ট থেকে। আমি দেখছি যে ইভেন অ্যাট অড আওয়ারে পিপুল আর মেকিং এ সেভিং ইন দেয়ার, যেটা যে ধরনের জিনিস দ্য অ্যান্ট গ্রুপের লোকটা বললো, যে পিপল আর মেকিং সেভিংস ইন ফাইন্যান্সিয়াল ইনস্টিটিউশনস using the bKash platform. Okay, and it's like I just sold a chicken and আমার কাছে এক্সট্রা 500 টাকা আছে, একটা সেভিংস অ্যাকাউন্ট খুলে ফেলছে bKash দিয়ে, account is getting opened in the financial institutions using the digital KYC, and the money is stored there as a DPS. And 6 মাস পরে you have suddenly a significant amount of money is saved. It's fundamentally, it's coming from the very basic understanding of mushti chal of Bangladesh. যে আপনার কাছে একটা সার্টেন রিসোর্স আছে, আপনি রান্না করার আগে you're taking one feast out and saving it there.
After 6 months, you have a meaningful savings. So Ajke, a digital platform is allowing you to make that kind of savings. And after 6 months, you have something meaningful. I have a colleague, he is not financially constrained, rather financially quite solvent, okay? Because যেহেতু কাজ করছে, okay? 12টা DPS অ্যাকাউন্ট খুলেছে। And I বলছি কেন? বলছে কামাল ভাই প্রতি মাসে একটা করে ম্যাচিওর হয়, okay? And I think he's a smart guy. Okay. Of course, he works for because he should be smart, okay? But smart guy. And I think I would personally speaking, I was born in 1971. It's very emotional hearing Sir yesterday. Okay, I'm 54 today. So I hope 20 years from now, I will meet people and they will say যে আলম যে মানে কেমন আছেন মানে সেভিংস ব্যবহার করছি and I hope they say ওই যে বিকাশ থেকে শুরু করেছিলাম সেভিংস করার অভ্যাসটা এটা একটা অন্য লেভেলে সেভিংস করছি সেভিংস করা is a fantastic thing. So savings is working. Lending is another amazing thing right now. We are doing it in partnership with Citibank. Soon we'll start with another bank. It's purely based on your transactional behavior. Okay. তা আমাকে সেদিন গভর্নর সাহেব বলছে যে কামাল লেন্ডিং তো আমি তো করতে চাই দেখার জন্য তো আমি তো লেন্ডিং এর অপশন পাই না স্যার আপনি তো বেশি বিকাশ ব্যবহার করেন না ওকে সেই জন্য আপনাকে বিকাশ এখনো লেন্ডিং ক্যাটাগরিতে নেয় নাই ওকে তো বাট যে রিক্সাওয়ালা ব্যবহার করছে সে কিন্তু লেন্ডিং এর অপশন পাচ্ছে কারণ আমার মা 96 ইয়ার্স ওল্ড হয়তো এয়ারটাইম কিনছে 100 টাকা দিয়ে ওকে বাট শি ইজ নট ইউজিং ইট অ্যাট অল শি ইজ নট ইন পজিশন অফ ইউজিং ইট বাট এ রিক্সাওয়ালা 10 টাকার এয়ারটাইম কিনছে গ্রামীণ ফোন দিয়ে খরচ করে ফেলছে আবার 10 টাকা কিনছে সো ওই যে চাইনিজ লোকটা যেভাবে বললো মেশিন দেখছে একটা প্রোডাক্টিভ লোক একে 100 টাকা 200 টাকা লোন দিলে ও কিন্তু ফেরত দিবে বিকজ ওর ইকোনমিক একটা অ্যাক্টিভিটির মধ্যে আছে তো এটা কিন্তু বাংলাদেশে অলরেডি শুরু হয়েছে হয়তো ডিজিটাল ব্যাংক লাইসেন্স নাই বাংলাদেশে অনেকের কিন্তু ডিজিটাল ব্যাংকিং ইজ রিয়েলি হ্যাপেনিং সো আই ফিনিশ মাই নোট ওভার দেয়ার থ্যাংক ইউ ভেরি মাচ অ্যান্ড আই হোপ I have not hold you longer than needed before going to lunch. Thank you very much. Thanks.
We would have loved to hear more from you, but maybe we'll keep it for next time. We are running short of time. So at this point in time, I would like to invite two of my colleagues. I'll try to keep a surprise element. I won't say what would be the session about, but I can promise you it would be interesting as well. So please keep seated. Wahid, the stage is yours.
Can you hear me? I hope you can hear me. Thank you so much for joining. Really apology, we are running a bit short of time, but I'm sure it will be worth it because I welcome you to take bites while we talk about the future. So, ladies and gentlemen, and honorable guests and speakers, assalamu alaikum and good afternoon. My name is Wahid. I work for Citibank NA. I work in Bangladesh, where we talk about crazy ideas and how to make them happen. So, when we talk about making things happen, we need to talk about the future. And one of them is this, semiconductor, because it's already a part of our daily life. How? I'm not an expert in it, but I can talk about the usage. For example, this device or the Wi-Fi that connects it. Let's say we talk about the EVs a lot, the future of cars, or different medical equipments. All these devices, they run through various chips and circuits which are powered through semiconductor. Let's say we want to buy an iPhone. One of the things that we check is whether it's an A15 or A16 or A18 bionic chip. And they keep getting reinvented every single year. And hence, semiconductor is like a brain to almost majority of modern devices and equipment that we use. Now, ladies and gentlemen, the question is, why do we think that Bangladesh can be the next possible destination to build a semiconductor farm? Very glad to say that we have 3 regional and local subject matter experts on this field from Ernst & Young, one of the big 4 accounting firms in the world, and Ulkasemi, which is the first ever semiconductor farm in Bangladesh. So I would like to welcome the 3 distinguished speakers one by one, starting with Mr. Abhishek Gupta. Can we have a round of applause, please? Mic. ওনাকে mic দিতে হবে.
Hello, everyone. Good afternoon. My job is going to be very easy because I'm here to get only one question answered, which is you must have all heard about food, cloth, and shelter, which is the 4th item which is getting added in the last few years. Semiconductor. Today, if you really see from anybody who's walking the streets to somebody who's sitting in a air-conditioned office, everybody has an element of a chip somewhere or the other, whether it's your mobile phone, or it's a camera, or it's your television, or it's this equipment. Everywhere there is a chip required. And in the last few years, that's how the industry is turning out to be. Even your automobile, where you move around in a public transport, or whether you're sitting at your home or you're working in the office, everywhere there is an element of semiconductor. I will just talk about very briefly what is it that has made all of us talk about semiconductors, and that too, why Bangladesh has a huge opportunity. I'm very glad that only a few months back, we were actually having a discussion in Dhaka with the help of Bida, talk about semiconductors. And it was only a few months back where we were highlighting that there is a huge potential. And within a few months, we've realized that the country has made so much progress. There are so many developments which have happened, and thanks to Bida and, of course, the government, that they've already formed a working committee. They've already started thinking of a roadmap. MCCI has done a beautiful roadmap. So I think things are definitely looking positive. And why they are looking positive and why there is a huge potential, if you look at the whole spread of the value chain of semiconductors across the world, when you talk about the basic item, which is silicon, is somewhere mined, silicon dioxide is mined somewhere in the US. It goes to Japan to create ingots. From Japan, it goes to South Korea to create wafers. From South Korea, it goes to Taiwan to imprint those wafers. From there, it would go to Malaysia to do the assembly and the testing and the packaging. And then it would go to perhaps China or somewhere else to manufacture, to put in a mobile phone or somewhere else, something else. Similarly, if you look at the equipment or the machinery, that may be coming from Europe or US, which are the hubs for fantastic R&D for many, many years, and therefore the machinery may be coming from those parts of the world. If you talk about the IP, that IP may somewhere be getting generated in Europe for an application processor, which may go to the Silicon Valley for the software to design the chip. And then finally, the commercialization of the chip may again happen in somewhere else in the world. What it basically goes to show is that diversification of geographies, diversification of suppliers, wires, is actually something which gives a lot of opportunity to Bangladesh. Localization, because obviously the demand is huge in this part of the world especially, is another reason why there's a huge opportunity. And finally, of course, cost. We are a much more affordable country when it comes to these kinds of manufacturing, which could be done very, very easily given the human resource dividend we have got. So I think given these 3 things, there is a huge opportunity for us to play a big role in the whole semiconductor ecosystem. Now, it's not easy. It's going to be very, very difficult. The world is doing whatever they can. As we speak, each of these countries are offering more than 200,000 crores of incentives, Bangladeshi taka. Almost every year they are rolling out these kinds of incentives. Every country is creating millions of skill development opportunities for their people to be trained in various parts of the value chain of semiconductor. Every country is putting in almost more than double of what their R&D budgets used to be till a couple of years back, now are going into semiconductors. These are the Herculean efforts which, as you see, these four, not only developing, but also developed countries are putting in more. US has been obviously ahead of the curve always. So their CHIPS Act is actually designed just to make sure that the semiconductor industry stays within the US and also the R&D keeps happening within the US. So we are competing with tough giants, and therefore we need to obviously make it faster. We need to do it smarter. Obviously, the good point is that we have got to learn from the mistakes. We've got to learn from the successes. We've got to learn from some of the neighbors who are mentioned here on the slide, and that's how we can leverage. We can cut short the time. We can cut short the cost, and of course the effort. And then, what are the things as Bangladesh, based on our experience as Ernst & Young, we work in more than 150 countries as we speak, and we work extensively with the government as well as the private sector, especially in the electronics and semiconductor domain. What are those quick, low-hanging fruits which Bangladesh needs to look at? And as I said, I'm really glad that in the last few months, the needle has really moved. We have already taken so many steps. Bida has formed a working committee. Industry associations are already thinking a lot on what needs to be done. But I think if you really have to do a quick action planning, obviously monetary incentives is one very important part. That goes without saying. Although monetary incentives is not enough, or this is not something which will attract that itself will not attract the industry. But that is certainly something, a hygiene factor we need to look at. The second part, as I spoke about, is the skilling. We need to make sure that all the institutions, technology institutions, higher education institutions, do include an element of semiconductor in their existing courses. And not only include that, change the course content, but also have additional courses, skilling courses, purely designed towards R&D, purely designed towards assembly, testing, and packaging. And mind you, I'm only talking about assembly, testing, and packaging because that's again a low-hanging fruit. Setting up a fab at this point in time is going to be super difficult. I think that could be our long-term bet. But for the short term and the medium term, we are only talking about something where we have a dividend, where we can quickly leverage what we have. And the third element will be research and development. I think that's again an area where our workforce, our skilled people within Bangladesh, of course, as well as outside, they can come together and they can actually help in the whole knowledge which Bangladeshis have created across the world to bring it back to Bangladesh and do really productive R&D for this particular sector. And I think from the government's perspective, as I said, I'm really glad that the government has already taken these initiatives to set up a very senior level team or a committee to actually take care or to monitor how this whole ecosystem will be developed over the next few months, let alone be years. So I will stop here. Just wanted to share this whole perspective of why semiconductors and how we can take it forward to make it a really positive development for Bangladesh. And I have my colleagues who's going to talk about more. Thank you. Thank you. Please.
Assalamu alaikum, everyone. Good afternoon. Let's see if it moves to the next page. All right, it's coming back to the first page. I'm Mashuk Rahman, and I'm representing GreenQuest. That's a consulting firm based in California. That picture probably was taken 50 years ago or something. But this is real me. That's not AI generated, but it was taken way, way back at some point. So I'll cover a few very simple items, and because we have shortage of time also. So $1 trillion, that's a huge number for any industry. The projection for semiconductor industry is that it will hit $1 trillion plus by 2030. And if we look back in 2024, it was right about 400, let me think now, $645 billion. So the growth, it's excellent growth, right? And whenever an industry is growing at that level, at that rate, it creates a lot of opportunities because there are a lot of reasons behind it why it's growing at that rate. But the surprising part is there is new projection that just in 2 years, by 2032, it will grow to more than $2 trillion, primarily driven by AI and the demand of AI on semiconductor. Also, quantum computing. So those new things, I mean, all of us hear about AI. We know a little bit of AI here, a little bit of AI there. But most of us don't know how much demand AI has on semiconductor. And that's creating that particular growth exponential just in 2 years. It will be more than double. So it's AI and, as I said, quantum computing. What that demands, the projection is semiconductor industry worldwide will need more than 1 million additional resources by 2030. The question is, so that's another opportunity. The question is, where do you get all those resources? Right now, there is shortage of resources in semiconductor industry worldwide. It's everywhere you don't get enough resources. Even in Bangladesh, actually, you don't get enough resources, where semiconductor industry right now is really, really tiny, almost, you cannot even see. It's at that level. So there are opportunities. That's what I'm pointing out in just single pages. The other opportunity that's coming up for the semiconductor industry is all the geopolitics. I'm not talking about the recent tariff stuff, all those gobbledygook, so let's not talk about that. Even before that, the geopolitics created a huge opportunity for new entrants to get into the picture. The semiconductor industry supply chain is pretty global. Taiwan, China, Korea, Malaysia. Overall in Asia, there is a huge concentration. Of course, US, Europe, all over. So it's worldwide. Now, the geopolitics where Bangladesh can get the advantage is geopolitics is putting pressure on China to look for options to have manufacturing in some other places. So China has reasons to move manufacturing to other locations. They are already doing that. They're already looking into that. US has reasons to have manufacturing in other locations other than China. But they have been depending on China for so long, I would say, for so many years. And that's true for all the other regions. Now, countries are not sitting tight. If you look into the resources number I threw in there, 1 million plus, that's the demand in next 5 years. Malaysia has a plan to develop resources for semiconductor industry. India has a huge plan. Vietnam has a huge plan. So countries already has plans, they're working on it. But if you're paying enough attention, what you will find out, Malaysia had a plan to create certain number of resources by 2030. They're already saying, we don't have that many people. We cannot create that many resources that fast. So there are already gaps, even for a country who was planning to develop certain number of resources. So I'm just pointing out all the opportunities that's being created for semiconductor industry. Now, what Abhishek was pointing out on the last page, all the collaborations that's needed. and I'm just putting it in one sentence, which is there must be massive collaboration between public and private sector, which is the government, universities, different agencies, policy making, of course, so that's public and private, plus diaspora. There is not a single country in the world who succeeded in semiconductor industry without their own diaspora contributing heavily, participating heavily, because you need that know-how. Semiconductor is not simple. Before I came over from California, I was talking to a friend who is in biotechnology, extremely successful, very well-known, very well-respected. And he was talking to some people in Bangladesh for this summit. He's not here. So I was telling him, how come no one understands semiconductor? He was saying, Mashuk bhai, it's so easy for me for biotechnology, but because somehow it relates to health and issues which everyone can understand. Semiconductor, it's tough. But I'll go to the next speaker, Anayat Rahman, who will give you the real picture from the ground. It's tough, but it's doable. Thank you.
Assalamu alaikum. I think we are told that I was given very little time. So let me go very quickly. My name is Mohammed Anayat Rahman. I'm the President and CEO of Ulka Samai. I don't know how many people heard about Ulka Samai. Not that many, at least few hands are there. Ulka Semi is the largest semiconductor company in Bangladesh. Yesterday, our Honorable Dr. Yunus mentioned about that we have a crazy idea. Bangladeshi has crazy idea, and then they implement it. Looks like he was telling my story. I'm sure there are a lot of stories like that. I started my journey with 4 engineers. Before I started my company, 2 companies could not succeed. So there was no good example to follow. And all my friends in Silicon Valley thought that's a crazy idea to do semiconductor in Bangladesh because it's a very specialized knowledge and Bangladesh do not have that. So we started our journey. There was some hiccup. It was not an easy journey. But today we have 500 engineers, 4 locations in the world: Dhaka, Bangalore, India, Silicon Valley, Toronto, and Ottawa, Canada. We are trying to add 2 more offices. One is Netherlands, one is Malaysia. Most likely, pretty soon, we are exploring those things. Now, the thing surprised me actually, the resilience of the people. People actually worked very hard. Actually, out of 500, you'll be surprised, about 200 Gen Z population I have. And every single day I'm learning so much from them, full of energy. I'm motivating them. We are trying to create ourselves into the state of the art. The most interesting part is around 2010, 11, 12, we actually started with one of the largest semiconductor company makes microprocessor. Only 2 companies make microprocessor that goes to laptop. So you can imagine which company is that. So that company start pushing us to the advanced technology. Because I was not, honestly speaking, I never thought I'll be able to come this far in my wildest dream. But things happens. The story is that company started pushing us into the advanced node. So they had to go to Washington, D.C., to US Department of Commerce, Export Control Division. A lot of people already know about it. They had to get permission whether Bangladesh can have access to that technology. So they got the permission. And that changed many things for us. We got access to TSMC. TSMC makes, just for you guys information, we talk about AI, we talk about a lot of things. 100% all AI chips made in TSMC, Taiwan. No other country in the world. What happened? With that advanced node, we got relationship with TSMC. We have the access to the latest technology, 2 nanometer. And Ulkasemi has a huge team working in Bangladesh and outside Bangladesh on 2 nanometer. As a matter of fact, I just signed a contract day for yesterday for 1 nanometer. This is the most advanced technology in the world. Just to let you guys also know, TSMC has only 21, 22 company they call Design Center Alliance, DCA. We are one of them. Not that many company in the entire planet Earth has the DCA capability. So you can imagine that how far we have come. We are working with the top almost 20 semiconductor company in the world. We don't have any customer in Bangladesh. And we are planning to grow close to 1,000. So now here's the question we have. Of course, initially there's a challenge. Any investor interested in semiconductor, please talk to me. So we did first design service on the front-end part of the design. And I'm thinking we are well into getting into packaging and testing without any problem. So that is something to discuss. So what we do, we actually mapped all university. Because what is happening, I think Mashuk mentioned, that this is the opportunity for Bangladesh to grow because we missed a lot of window. Let's not talk about it. But moving forward, when it goes to $1 trillion or $2 trillion economy and entire planet Earth, world will need another 1 million resources. Question is, every country is trying to build that resources. Malaysia was trying to do 60,000, now they gave up. They say probably maximum they can do 20,000 resources. Because of the population dividend, they don't have the way we have. So question is, how can we take advantage of that? So what we did, we mapped Bangladesh. There are almost 130 universities that is offering electrical engineering or CS graduate. And every year almost 28,000 is coming out. So there's a huge population. So we can easily create a steady stream of resources for semiconductor industry. Or if anybody starts any business here, packaging and testing, or multinational company like India went to AMD, TI, Intel, any company comes here, resource is here. You may not get in other countries. So what we did is map the entire Bangladesh. To my surprise, Dhaka has close to 60 universities that offers electrical engineering courses. And then outside Dhaka, we have another like 70 plus universities. So we are reaching out to all universities in Bangladesh. And we are taking different steps because resources needed. If you go to Ulkasemi blog, go to YouTube and find out, type Ulkasemi, you'll find a lot of things we are trying to do. Because government moves very slowly. We've been telling government for many years. So we thought that we have to do whatever we need to do. So we basically creating blog, we are creating resources. Many university has no VLSI course offered. There's no professor. There's no, every place I go end up complaints and everything. So we went to the student directly. We are telling that we are going to provide you all the information. You study, you come take a test, we'll hire you. We have 500, we are trying to add another 100 pretty soon. So we are almost there. I think what we need from the government is policy. Like all those universities, one of the things that there is no good internet connection. They're very poor connections. So maybe Starlink will make a difference. I think it's expensive, but we have to find a model that how we can manage that cost. But this is very, very important that government has to give tax incentive, government has to give cash incentive. This is what's happening in other countries also. And then support resource development. This is such a huge resource, all the university. There are a lot of things going on. And I must tell you that our advisor is very, very supportive. He showed up in my office. I didn't even know who he was. He just called and showed up. This is amazing. And of course, Ashik came, Nahian came, everybody came to my office. So we're getting a lot of support. So definitely government is working towards that and we're working with the government. So thank you so much for because of time constraint, I cannot go any further, but I'll be more than happy to share my story in future some events. Thank you.
We look forward to hear from you again very soon, but we have a very sharp cutoff point. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. So we have next another very interesting session. Zarif, I would like to invite you to stage, please.
Hi, everyone. Good afternoon. I know it's getting really close to lunchtime, so I don't want to take up too much of your time, but I promise that the next two speakers that we have, they're going to be really engaging. And they're going to talk about the ITES industry in Bangladesh. So what is ITES? It's Information Technology Enabled Services, which describes the services that are provided to businesses leveraging information technology. So picture this. You are at an ATM, and suddenly your bank card isn't working. So you call up the bank landline. And if you're in Bangladesh, you'll probably reach someone in Bangladesh. But if you're in the US, in the UK, a very high chance is you might reach someone in a call center in India. So information technology has enabled that kind of services to be provided by companies from offshore centers. And Bangladesh has the capacity, the capabilities to be the next destination. So why do we have that capacity, and what gives us our competitive advantage? To tell you more about that, I would like to invite the next two speakers, Shah Jalaluddin from GenX Infosys and Mir Shahrukh Islam from Bonstein, to tell us more about ITES in Bangladesh.
Good afternoon, Jalal Bhai. How are you? It's a great day to talk about two most important things, Bangladesh and its thriving ICT industry.
Yes, good afternoon, Shahrukh. It's been really a good opportunity for us to be here. And I think we are already late, and it's mid-hour. Talking about anything which is not interesting is going to make the audience even more upset. So to be honest, we are here standing before you to unveil the immense potential that Bangladesh has got in ICT sector. And as we all know, you have been briefed and told many times, it's a very young, agile, and very entrepreneurial country that currently we have, as because of the young generation.
So, great. So if you look at the market size, currently we have around 2,600 active companies in the ICT industry. We have a market size of $2.4 billion, where we have a local market of 1.5 and an export market of 0.9 billion, right? And the BPO industry is also thriving.
Correct. If I represent a company where we have got more than 4,000 people working in any given day. And currently we are working for companies like Uber, we are working for Standard Chartered Bank, we have got company Temo, which is called as the Amazon for Europe. We have got Netstar, who produces the platform for IoT, like Emo, Bigo, and Likey. So I think those who have uploaded any photograph in Emo, if it requires a regulatory approval, it goes to our office in Nikunjo. So think about it that someone using Emo in Middle East is getting all the support from Bangladesh. It's not only that, we also provide support for graphic design. We also do accounting software modernization for different companies in US. We also support companies from Middle East to provide SaaS services, which is very much required for small organizations in that particular country.
Great. You know what? Bangladesh has one of the biggest element that increases your probability of success in business. And you know what that is? It's our people. Our people are creative and skilled. They are resilient. They are hardworking. And that makes all the difference. With over 350,000 people employed over these 2,600 companies and around 500,000 people listed as skilled people in different online marketplaces, Bangladesh is one of the giant ICT workforce. And slowly, it's shifting. We are seeing a tremendous shift in entrepreneurial mindset.
Right. I think Shahrukh represents that particular group, and his voice and my voice are different. He's giving the indication how energetic our current population is. And to be honest, the youth in Bangladesh are giant killers. They can do anything they wish to. They need some learning and they need some training. Let us give you an example. In our organizations, we call it Learn and Earn. That is your first platform where we create impact for your rest of your life. So if you believe in youth, which is an obvious choice to be honest, it's not only youth, it's a country which is rising. And I think for investors, we have got the population, we have got the right resources, we are online and we are ready. My question to you would be, are you ready?
If you look at the ICT exports, Bangladesh is slowly becoming the development center of the world, right? We have been seeing 20% year-on-year growth on ICT exporting. We are exporting to destinations like US, UK, EU, and other countries. Let me take you an example for Japan ICT export market. Nearly 5 years ago, we had very minimal export proceeds from Japan, right? But with resilience approach and consistent follow-ups from the local ecosystem players, we have been able to bring Japan as one of the top 5 ICT exports just within 5 years. And we are serving global clients like Accenture, Amazon, Apple, British Telecom, Intel, Uber, and a lot of other companies. But that doesn't stop there, right? BPO service is also very interesting. Jalaba, if you could highlight some points.
Right. Most of us know BPO as a call center. I think it's no longer a call center. For example, we are covering almost 96% of the population in the country, providing voice, non-voice services, digital services. Plus, we are also providing support to the small business houses where we provide them accounting solutions. So the BPO industry is emerging and we are concentrating on creating resources. And these resources are going to be the next generation who is going to lead the country for better future.
Great. But why invest in Bangladesh? I have talked about one reason, people, right? But the second reason, and the most fundamental reason, is the government support. Government considers ICT sector to be a hero sector. That's why we are enjoying corporate tax exemption till 2027. And it's scheduled to be extended even further. We also have 6% incentive on export proceeds. And with available high-tech park, you can start your office tomorrow. So fundamentally, government support gives us a very big advantage, and having a very resilient people also tops that advantage. Now, if you look into the demographic dividends, Jalal Bhai can highlight.
Correct. Average age, everyone knows, is 26 years old. I think if we go back to the BPO industry, we have a mix of average age is 19. So these are all the aspirant group of Bangladesh. Probably they are in their last year of their studies, looking for getting graduation. Now, if you look into the gender distribution, we have got around 35 to 40% female working in our organizations. And they are also working in the sense that they are taking leadership in some of the process that we deal for foreign organizations. Now, at a whole, I think this country has everything ready. For example, we have the right infrastructure. Government is supporting enormously. We have got the right people who are ready to take this challenge. Plus, this is a destination where we have got geographical advantage for US market. Plus, we can have a lot of resources who are coming back from different countries to invest, especially NRB, non-resident Bangladeshi. So this is the destination, I would say, and this is where you can make your future bright. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Let's invest in Bangladesh.
Thank you. So I think so far we have talked a lot about the private sector digitization, and we have heard about the success stories that each of one of them have made. So I think it's time we also need to be mindful that along with private sector, we also need to have public sector digitization, which is equally important. So I think the next session, or it's more like a panel discussion that would be conducted by one of our city officials, and we are very fortunate that we also got some officials from the government side as well. So without further delay, I would like to invite them on stage. So I would like to invite Mr. Jafar Sadiq Chaudhry, Additional Managing Director, MetLife Bangladesh, Ms. Nahid Sharmin, Lead DFS A2I ICT Division, Rohit Jamwal, Public Sector Solutions Head, City Asia South, and then Abu Abed Mohammed Shoaib, DGM Jibon Bima Corporation. A big round of applause for them, please.
afternoon. Assalamu alaikum. I won't take much time because I think this session is extremely important from the perspective of listening to the practitioners on the digital financial inclusion and the benefits they have reaped. So with me, we have people from A to I, government nodal agency, from MetLife, and from G1 Bima. I'll just give a context so that everybody can enjoy the conversation. Digitizing and digitization of the government services have led to significant cost savings. I think it's very important to everybody in this room and anybody and everybody, what does it mean to me? What is the impact and relevance to me? I think that is very, very important. So I think I want to just lay some of the best practices the other countries have done. And I think that is something key takeaway for even Bangladesh. And I would start that firstly with the SMEs. I'm sure there are a lot of SMEs in the room as well. And if I ask any of you, how much is the liquidity risk you are carrying? Where are your cash balances? What is the counterparty risk you have? Or what is the FX risk you have? Can you substantiate in real time? I don't think anybody would be. So, because you don't have just one bank account and one insurance company and one asset. So the challenge is, how do you have access to all this information? Because it's all lying with different bank accounts and different providers. And how do you access the credit? Either you do it bilaterally, you speak to every provider, or the government can create an ecosystem. I think in the morning with Mr. Faiz spoke about that you can get all this information at a very, very, or typically free of cost. I think what are the benefits of digitization? One is the transparency. Now, the numbers are staggering. Some of the countries, I just take example of what India published when they did direct benefit transfer. They saved $12 billion of government benefit savings, which were getting pilfered by going digital. I'll give you an example of digital KYC. Okay, so the government of Estonia saved 820 years of work by going digital KYC on digital signatures. I'll also take example of another very good example, closer home on insurance, is on proof of life. So as a pensioner, it's an annual event, proof of life, that I'm still alive and therefore keep giving you pension. Italy national pension digitized the whole process. Now the pensioner can be in any country. They can get paid in that country in the choice of their currency without moving from their home. So with that background, I want to open some of the questions I have for the panel. Maybe first one for the Mr. Chaudhary. Bangladesh has one of the lowest life insurance penetration rates in the world. I believe it is 0.5% of the GDP compared to global average of 3 to 4%. Given this challenge, could you share with us some of the key digital transformation initiatives MetLife Bangladesh has undertaken over the last 5 years, particularly in premium collections and claim processing, and how has it benefited you and the citizens of Bangladesh?
Thank you and good afternoon. Before answering your question, I need to say something about the background. Because MetLife Bangladesh, MetLife is a 165 years old company, and we are in Bangladesh for more than 70 years. So we are a proud partner of Bangladesh growth and prosperity. So in fact, we have started 73 years back, and we have invested money. We didn't look for the opportunity. We have created the opportunity in Bangladesh. So about Bangladesh, we found that
the huge population, everybody said, the youth population, and their adaptability mindset, and the internet penetration throughout the country. Everything is is so vibrant. So during 2019, we have taken a strategy for 5 years, which ended in December last year, to prepare for the future, because the opportunity is huge. And based on the customer demand, market demand, and this huge young population, so we have taken that initiative and we have completed that. Now we have another 5 years strategy to build from there. So what is the strategy? That will answer your question. The strategy is, in Bangladesh, you are right, the insurance penetration is less than 1%. 0.4 is actually 0.4. In India is almost 5%. In Hong Kong, Malaysia, they are 10, 12%. In Japan is 22%. So the opportunity is huge. The population is huge. That's why we have, last 5 years, we have invested millions of dollars to prepare for the future and for the opportunity. So I will share 2, 3, examples out of many. Like, we have created an app, we call it One by MetLife, for our customers, for the future. And we have created another app, we call it My Life, for our internal customer, for our people working for MetLife. So these are the 2 apps will drive us for next 50 years. We will build on them going forward. So for the app, One by MetLife, we have more than 1.2 million customers. For their any need on insurance, they don't need to come to our office or call us. They can just get into the app and get all the services. They can pay premium from there. They can see their status. They can get their tax certificate from the app. They can submit their claims. Everything is in one app. So and we have created this app not only for our customers only. This is also for non-customers, because the adaptability mindset of Bangladeshis. So if I say we have added value-added services in that, like call a doctor, chat with a doctor, get your BMI, your diabetes management, your blood pressure management, everything is there. So you can order medicine, you can have your diagnostics at home. So everything is in one app. So what happened, you see the slide. In last 2 years, we have 1.3 million downloads for an insurance app. So it's unbelievable. And out of this 1.3 million downloads, 600,000 people are registered. They are using this app. And if you see, because of this app, at this moment, all of our services, 75% of our services are given through this, digital innovation. So this is a fantastic achievement. And, out of this 1.3 million downloads, only 250,000 customers have their BMI checks, in our app. And 50,000 plus users are getting, doctor's consultation, chat with the doctor and doctor's appointment through this app. This is a fantastic achievement for customers' point of view for the future. This is the future, and we have built on that, and we are very excited for that.
I think that's a very interesting context you provided, and I think on that note, I want to ask this question to Mr. Shoaib. When it comes to life insurance, there is also a human element and empathy, because when it comes to claim payment, there is an emotional angle to it. So maybe I want to ask is, if there is one area you want to pick up where you feel we are lagging in digital payment journey, what it will be, and how do you balance automation with the need for human touch?
Thank you. Good afternoon to all. Your first question, one area, if I take from digitization journey for life insurers, it's definitely claim disbursement. There is a numerous reason to proving this problem. Number one, if I mention number one is claim payment disbursement is more complex than other sectors. You know that claim payment payout structure is often complex, and it's vary from customer to customer, depending on their contract. And second thing is legacy IT system. Many insurers really still now rely on legacy system, and it's difficult to improve or integrate modern payment structure. It's also difficulty, technically challenging. And third one is fraud prevention. You know that insurance payment typically large sum, so there is a possibility to fraudulent activities. So we need to introduce sophisticated tools to prevent this. And third one is finally, I would to say that customer satisfaction and trust. A significant portion of the life insurance customer is older demographic, and they are not comfortable with a digital payment system. Rather, they prefer older or traditional banking system like checks or bank transfer. Thank you.
Yeah. Okay. So I think that's a very relevant portion when you said that there is a human element involved. I just want to finish this, maybe a comment from Nahid from A2I. Maybe if you want to just take 5 seconds, because I think if what is coming out is that we need an ecosystem, right? Like what Jeevan Bima just mentioned, we need an ecosystem. So I think A2I has done a lot of work on ACPay, but what's your journey, going forward? How do you resolve some of these problems on digitization? So if you can just take 5 seconds to share.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thanks, Rohit, for inviting us. Actually, when I see the topic, public sector digitization, and you ask me what is the journey of A2I, maybe the audience already aware about the A2I journey is remarkable in the public sector digitization. Actually, in the ICT division, A2I is one of the most vibrant program, though it working for the public sector digitization. We have lots of things. Later I will come to the financial services, but actually financial service digitization depends on the other area. Like we have MyGov platform, we have eNothi or dNothi, we have digital center. Those are actually interconnected with the financial services. So now I'm coming to the point of the ACPay. ACPay is the one and only government national payment aggregator in Bangladesh. So we have a plan, it turned to be a national payment aggregator in the Bangladesh. And also it's our special assistant of Honorable Chief Advisor and also ICT Secretary verbally confirmed that they have a plan to ACPay turn to be a national payment aggregator. But we are now facing some challenges because of our formalization process, but it's not that so much.
So I can say that the intent is there.
Yeah.
The roadmap is there. It's just about the execution of the same. Yeah. So I think I want to not stand between you and your lunch. And I want to thank the panel members for taking out time. So I think we can wrap up. I think Bangladesh is the right spot
there's a public-private partnership, and A2I is the agency which is facilitating the whole process of digitization. Thank you so much. Thank you, panel members.
Thank you, everyone. So first of all, apologies. I think we are running behind time, running behind schedule, and this is the last session. So I think in all the discussions, one thing was very common, and it was about cyber security, right? Without cyber security, none of this progress in AI technologies would work. So we tried to, we're very lucky to get someone who is an expert in this area. So it's a great honor to introduce Mr. Takatoshi Nakamura, a distinguished scientist from the USA and a former MIT faculty member for over 19 years. He's the inventor of complete cipher technology, which is the revolutionary breakthrough in post-quantum cryptography. So I won't take much time. I would like to invite Mr. Takatoshi Nakamura, please. Please give him a big round of applause.
Hello. Oh. Hello? Okay. You must be long waiting for that lunch. But please, maybe 5-6 minutes, all right? First, I can clearly see the remarkable aggressiveness in ICT development in Bangladesh. But if everything we are building could collapse. And that's exactly why okay. So could you give me the slide? Excuse me, do you have? Yes. Thank you. Okay. Oh, first, I'm talking about quantum computer. There are many computers, developed. Yeah, this is the one by China 3-4 years ago. And last year, Google introduced Willow. And this year, Microsoft, Amazon. These are quite fast, okay? Compared to supercomputer, it is 10 to the power of 24 times faster. That's fast, okay? So we can get the benefit from this quantum computer clearly. Simulation, optimization, machine learning, many benefits we can see. So clearly, quantum computer will be one of the most important tools for our future, definitely. All right, but
in a 5 to 10 year time frame, quantum computing will break encryption as we know it today.
No, again, okay.
In a 5 to 10 year time frame, quantum computing will break encryption as we know it today.
Okay, did you listen to that? Okay, quantum computer may break all the conventional information security related functions, all right? So quantum computers accomplish conventional attacks super fast and in a fraction of a second. So are there any effective solutions? So please think now, what if the net information security function is destroyed? It can come like 2030, 3, 4, 5 years from now. Obviously, internet is going to be very likely stop working. But not only that, traffic system, power system, diplomacy system, defense system will be affected. So we need some solution. So, but the world is not just waiting for the threat coming. They are preparing. That is post-quantum cryptography. American NIST released first 3 finalized post-quantum encryption standards. Those are three of them, okay? But, so you think, if you use this cryptography, maybe you can make better, secure system. You may be thinking like that, right? But bad news. Critical vulnerability still remains and will never be solved. Will never be solved. So, what you will do with that? This is Financial Times, 2 years ago, I think. Chinese researchers claimed to find a way to break encryption using quantum computer, 2 years ago. And our colleague at MIT said, probably it is true. Okay? And what's more, many experts, including us, know how to hack systems that use standardized post-quantum cryptography. So this is not going to be a solution, obviously. But here's good news. And not many people know about this. Okay? In 1949, only technology to solve this problem was initiated. 1949, very old. But since then, he's the person who introduced this paper, which is mentioning about such solution. Dr. Claude Shannon. He introduced the complete cipher idea. It is based on information theoretic security. It is proven. So since then, Shannon's idea was extended and the critical issue was solved already. That is complete cipher. So complete cipher is, in definition, nobody can break it with any means forever. And now, who is using this? Mostly American military, American intelligence, and Russian intelligence, and some others, okay? Not for everybody yet. But our father of, political father of Japan, do you remember Shinzo Abe? He passed away already, okay? 3 years ago, I talked with him, and he liked this technology. And Fumio Kishida mentioned about our complete cipher in Diet last year. Shinzo Sensei said, leveraging complete cipher technology, Japan can once again become the second most important country in the world that can contribute to the people of all over the world. Okay? So now, I want to introduce this system, okay? Any countries need NID system, national ID system. We have one in Japan. It's not good though, but anyway, we have one. And the NID system requires two functions at least, authentication function and also confidential communication function. And if we think about the election system, it's going to be used, all over the world soon. This also requires confidential communication and authentication functions also. Same for financial systems, right? So financial application requires authentication function, confidential communication function, and business application requires also authentication function and confidential communication function. Okay? But these are quite difficult to make if we consider about the threat of that quantum computer. So I suggest, so for any service, real or virtual, these two functions are essential. And implementing them with specifications that can withstand quantum computers is not only costly, but also difficult. Therefore, if Bangladesh can provide these functions as a nation, it will not only become the country with the most advanced ICT infrastructure in the world, most advanced, okay? But also the country with the highest return on investment. where the funds invested in the future will be used very effectively only to build the function to realize the targeted services. Okay? So now, the message I want to tell you. This is the last slide. So CipherCore, our company, is not just a technology provider, it's a foundation for building a true digital economy. If the government of Bangladesh is willing, we are ready to bring large-scale investment, set up critical infrastructure, and establish a global support resource center right here in Bangladesh. This initiative will create substantial employment opportunities and position local talent to support the globe protect against post-quantum threats. We warmly invite all partners to join us in building a robust digital ecosystem, not only for Bangladesh, but also to capitalize on global opportunities from here. Together, we can make Bangladesh a global hub for digital resilience. So it is not crazy idea. Maybe it can be realized. Let's make realize together. Thank you very much.
Assalamu alaikum and good afternoon, everyone. As you can really understand, we are running against the time. So first of all, thank you so much to all of you for being here today. Hope you gained a lot from this session, and I'm sure that all of us are now feeling energized. We take this opportunity to thank Mr. Faiz Ahmed Tayyab, Honorable Policy Advisor for ICT Ministry of Bangladesh Government, for attending the event and sharing his valuable perspectives. And at this point, we also want to thank you, all our incredible speakers and facilitators that we have today. We know some of them actually traveled from abroad, and we really please accept our heartfelt gratitude. Thanks goes to Mr. Ashik Chaudhary, Honorable Executive Chairman of Bida, and his super energetic team. We were really, actually I should say that didn't expect this level of commitment from Bida team. That was outstanding led by Nahian. So thanks to Bida for inviting Citibank NA, inviting UNDP to become integral part of this initiative. And we know when government leads an initiative from the front, that sets the tone for the rest of the country, that gives a very strong signal to the potential investors. From Citi, we are ready to assist, collaborate with Bida and all the stakeholders to continue this dialogue. And finally, what inspires me the most, to be honest, as I look around this room, is all of you. Please take a look at all the persons sitting beside you, sitting next to you, sitting in front of you. You are actually the future of this country. So thanks to all our guests, including regulators, for making time to attend this event, which will actually pave the way for future success. And finally, we expect the event to spark the necessary spark that will initiate more dialogue. We know that this doesn't end here. Then we need to continue this dialogue with all the relevant stakeholders and bring the positive impact that we all wish for Bangladesh to achieve. That's all from my side. Thanks to you. Enjoy the rest of the day.